Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna bring my chat back up. All right, technical difficulties averted. Okay, we
Got
got
it
it all
solved.
sorted. Yep. All right. Maybe give people a minute. The worst part about I find if you go live multiple times on Twitch, I think they don't do noties like anymore. Do you know what I mean? So like
Really?
if people check and you're not on because you're having a technical difficulty, I feel like they don't re-notify when you get back on. That could just be a glitch or maybe
That's
they just don't like
fair.
me. I don't know.
It could
But
be. It's very possible that they could not like you.
it who
But it could
knows?
it could just be. It's also not just you. It's like everybody though. A lot of platforms are
Yes.
interesting.
Yes, very true. Very true. We are live on now. Let's start off. My name is Geena. This is the Probin podcast. The reason why I started this podcast is because I
Oh,
really love the idea. What just happened? What
well, I
just
guess I'm
happened?
taking over the stream here. I don't know what happened to the host. Is is Gina still here? Am I the only one? I think I'm the only one.
Okay, so my internet just flickered. I don't know if that means so we've been having rainstorms.
Uh,
Oh my, what can go wrong will go wrong. What is that?
it was,
Like Murphy's Law or some bullshit.
it was almost
So,
a panda takeover.
oh
Uh,
what?
I,
You're leading the podcast
I'm
now.
taking everything over.
Hopefully if the internet does shit the bed, we may have to reschedule. I have
That's
no
fine.
idea what just happened there, but basically my internet shit the bed and it booted me out.
That's fine.
So
It's okay.
here we are.
We're reviving.
Back again. Like I said, my name is Geena. Here we go again. This is the Probin podcast where I want to talk to creators of all kinds to talk about what inspires them, how they got there. I really love learning about people's creative journey, basically. Because creative looks different for everybody. You know what I mean? You could be a painter or you could be someone purposely like Panda who makes gaming content that focuses on different aspects of the gaming, not just the game itself. So, creative is a very vast word, and I love to use it. So this is PandaSkills, right?
Yes, PandaSkills. First of all, I
PandaSkills,
appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much for inviting me.
of
I
course.
always love talking and then talking about the creative stuff, and then just sharing knowledge and educating and motivating and entertaining.
And I love that. So when I met you in Texas, I kind of briefly said that when I first started the stream before I brought you in, that we had met in Texas when we both went to Loot Fest, and that's where we had
Correct.
met the first time. And I love that you're just like me. I do want to get good at the game. Like I want to be good,
Right.
and then you're like, I want to just troll people, and I love
Yes.
that because I think it's so
Absolutely.
funny.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with content creation, especially in the gaming industry, there's like three categories that people fall under, and it's either you're really good, you're really funny, or you're kind of in between.
Yeah, or like a
And
really good mixture of both
yeah,
or
like
something.
a
You know?
good
Yeah.
mixture of both. And I try to be right in the in between, but I definitely lean more towards the comedy aspect and then the silly gooseness of things. Just because I like to have fun. There's a lot of people, especially the games that I play. The industry and the scene for Call of Duty is very very toxic and very very serious. So I just like
Mm.
to have fun and be a silly goose. I mean, I wear a rice hat, so I can't be that serious, you know.
Well, I mean, you must have it strategically mounted between your head and your headphones. Like, is your headphones just a part of your hat now?
Yeah, basically. So I actually have to wear. I wear a ball cap under this. Some people can kind of see it. I wear a
Okay.
backwards hat, and the
Yes.
bill of the hat allows the rice hat to not move anywhere. So it just stays on my head unless I start
Oh.
getting crazy and I start jumping around. But yeah, so it's all there, and everybody's like, "How do you wear the hat?" Nah, just put it on.
So let's start with where can they find you? I want to put this at the beginning in the
Okay,
podcast.
so you can
Where can they
literally
find you?
find me everywhere. I am
Ooh.
on every single platform. I stream on every single platform. I don't stream on Instagram. I don't really know how to do Instagram. That's
I think
very
Instagram is
confusing.
more like a mobile, like a similar to TikTok, where it's just like mobile
Yeah,
platform for a
I've
lot.
I've tried to grow on there, but yeah, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, all the majors
Nice.
is where you can find the Rice
Do you
Hat
have a
guy.
favorite? Do you have a
I
favorite?
don't necessarily have a favorite. I think every platform has, as many people know, pros and cons, and each one kind of is good, and some are bad. Some have, poor choice in leadership, and
Yeah.
some don't have any leadership at all. And so it just depends. That's why, as a small content creator like myself, I like to just multi-stream everywhere if I'm allowed to, because
Hmm.
I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket.
That's
Uh,
very understandable.
it's
Like,
already hard to get enough reach as it is. So why limit myself to one platform when I could try and reach multiple platforms and maybe at some point in time collect all my viewers, all my followers, and my community into one, if that time ever comes.
I would personally, I mean, I don't, well, we don't need to talk any politics about like streaming platforms or anything like that, but I would love to see something that is a combination of everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's too good to be true, but I
Hmm.
want it still.
I,
You know what I
I
mean?
do too.
Yeah.
I do believe that, again, without getting too deep in the politics of platforms and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook has a good opportunity for that because it's basically a streaming platform, a YouTube, a Twitter, an Instagram, because you could post
This is
videos, you
also
could
true,
post
yeah.
pictures, you can post just whatever. I'm cooking, eggs and bacon for breakfast. And it's a social media, but uh, there's, certain cons to it that make it challenging to stream on that platform.
Oh, okay. Is it just
It there's like a lot of different things to it. The algorithm is very interesting because it does have an algorithm, and then I think viewer or streamers tend to find themselves too stuck on trying to hit that algorithm and too stuck on trying to hit any algorithm instead of focusing on their content and what they put out.
I definitely agree. It's definitely, I think, a fine touch where it's like you're making content that you like, but you also recognize things that do catch the algorithm.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely a fine blend, I think, to try and get something to pop. I mean, does it always work?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
all you could do is just kind of throw it all out
Right.
there and
Right.
hopefully something
It's
sticks, I
everything
guess.
everything is just like a wild goose chase when it comes to content creation. You don't know what's gonna work, and something may
Mm,
work for a few months, and you're like, "Oh, this is great," and then all of a sudden it stops working, and you're like, "But I didn't change anything. Why did it
yes.
stop? It doesn't make
Yep.
sense." And so then you're constantly having to reimagine your content, or I don't know what the word is. I'm not sure, but where you
I
look at your content and try to change things up.
Yes, I 100% believe that, and we both create on Facebook, so we probably both experience similar changes in like
Yes.
engagement and
Mm-hmm.
things like that based on when Facebook changes their algorithms, because we notice when because Kyle has his Facebook page
Mm-hmm.
as well, Boosted Lifestyle, and we both noticed, we'll be like, oh, they must have did something because we were able to maintain X amount of engagement for
Mm-hmm.
a period of time, and then all of a sudden it
It
fucking
just
tanks.
tanks. Yeah, it just
And we're
goes
like,
away.
well, you, and the thing is, like you say, is we've stayed consistent.
Right.
So we're like, the only thing that could really have changed is the
It is
algorithm. Like they're just
algorithm.
tweaking it again or something like that. So
Right.
it's definitely a I think we've referred to it as a wave before, and we
Mm-hmm.
just kind of ride it out. And like you say, you kind of have to have that little perspective shift and be like, okay, what could I do to just try and
Right.
re-bring
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
back in?
100%. And that's where,
Mm-hmm.
like, I with my content, I I do a lot of proxy chat trolling and the Asian
I
accent and all
love
that
that.
stuff. Yeah, and it's great, and I love it. And I originally didn't want to be known as the the Uncle Roger of Call of Duty and
Wait,
video
what
game
does that
streaming.
mean? Who's Uncle Roger?
Uncle Roger is a big YouTuber that does he does a an Asian accent as well, and he does like food
Okay.
reviews and stuff like that. Super big content creator. Apparently, not everybody knows him, and that's okay.
No, I don't know.
And that's okay. But so he's just, I just didn't want to be labeled as that guy because I wanted to be a content creator of just a content creator, not necessarily an Asian content creator. So when I first started out, first 2 years, I didn't do any Asian accent stuff with my content. It was always
Okay.
relatability stuff, funny moments, but never the Asian accent stuff. And then I decided I did the Asian accent stuff, and then back in February I decided this is getting a little rough. I hit a low. You know, the algorithm changed,
Okay.
and then it was just I wasn't getting a lot of traction. My view counts were very very low, and I wasn't getting any new followers, anything like that. I think it was like I was like at 8,000 followers on Facebook because that was my main platform, and I didn't multi-stream back then. And
Okay.
then I was just like, I'm done. I got to take a break. I need to step away. I don't know how long I'm going to step away for, but I need to step away. So I stepped away, and then one of the Asian accent videos, the reels that I posted, had just blew off. It just blew up.
Oh,
It just went
okay.
crazy. It went to like 600,000 views. I gained
That's awesome.
like 20,000 followers in a week. It was insane.
Nice.
And so then I was like, oh gosh, I guess I need to come back to streaming now. Um,
Now that everybody's
now
here.
that everybody's here. So
Yeah.
I eventually came back prior to meeting you at Loot Fest. So I came back and started streaming, and then I just was like, I guess the Asian content is what it's gonna have to be to get the traction, and that's one of those things where I think for me, I really wanted to be just known as a content creator and gamer and streamer, but not the Asian egg roll guy or the rice hat accent guy. But I had to just go, you know what? You just got to work with what you got and deal with it. And then, you know, I just post the content, and then now I'm at the point where my content is doing really well, but eventually I feel like people are going to get tired of it and they're going to get bored of it. And so now I'm trying to think how I can take it to the next level to really elevate the content, because I can only do the Asian accent so much, and then people are just gonna be like, all right, I've already seen it. I mean, it's funny, but you know, you always need new material. As I guess as a comedian and as an entertainer, you always need new material to keep things fresh. And I don't want to just keep riding this roller coaster up of growth that I've been getting, and then go, oh gosh, people are now getting bored, and then I've ran out. So I'm trying to stay ahead of the power curve here.
I feel like if you're always looking for inspiration to keep you going, you'll find it. Do you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So I don't, even though, you know, there's that thought in your mind that says, what if I run out? But the thing is that I've realized, because I've said that to myself before, like, um, I don't know if I've ever talked about like my background in body painting or anything like that with you, but I painted one called Sid the Sloth, and that one went viral, and it's like a pivotal thing in my content creating career because I was afraid to body paint more because I was afraid that everything else wouldn't be as good or go as viral or wouldn't
Right,
do
yeah,
all
yeah.
these things. You know what I mean? And then you kind of have to be like, you know what? I'm just going to let myself explore, and I'm going to look for inspiration. And I found other things, and I had other things go viral. So it was like it's this weird, like, little shutter in our mind that's like, no, you're going to run out, but really you're not.
Right.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. So it's that struggle there of there's a lot of fear in the unknown, and you're just like, I
Sure.
don't know if I want to take that risk and do these things and whatnot. But if there's no risk, then there's really no big reward. So you
So
know.
what would you say? Would you say that like attaching your content to the Asian, would you call it a stereotype?
Yeah,
Is that,
it's just a stereotype. It's 100% a
Okay.
stereotype. Yeah.
okay. So do you think that attaching that to your content, uh, totally lost my train of thought right in mid sentence. Welcome to my marshmallow brain. Oh my gosh.
It's perfectly okay.
Remind me quickly what we were saying.
We were
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
my Asian accent.
Yes.
And I
Oh, did you feel that there was a big risk to attaching your content to that? Yes. I'm sorry.
yeah,
My bad, Dick.
I think there is a big risk. Because kind of what I've touched on already of the fact that I do the Asian accent, but then eventually I feel like people are going to get bored of it or tired of it. Now, new people will be like, oh, this is hilarious. I love this. But the core community, they're going to be like, I've already seen it. You know, it's like for you in your body painting, if you did the Sid the Sloth painting and then you did it again and then you did it again, people that have already seen
I
it,
suppose.
you know what
in
I
that
mean?
way.
Like that's how I see the risk is that it's great for new people. When new people find me, they love it. And nobody's ever yet so far been like, oh, I'm tired of this. Like I'm already like I've been here for a while and this is all you do and I'm tired of it. But I do worry that it'll get old but that's all I have.
But
So
is
like,
it
you
though?
know,
Like I feel like because you recognize your position as an entertainer, I feel like you will find that thing, whether it's, your Asian gimmick with something else. I feel like it will come to you.
yeah, I
And
mean,
that,
I know I'd probably find it. Somebody that I see very similar to, that I'm kind of walking the same path as a pretty big streamer and content creator. I don't know if you know who Stone Mountain 64 is.
I don't.
Okay, he's a very big Call of Duty streamer, entertainer, and a while ago he used to do these bits called the Commanding Officer, where he would talk and he'd have his mic set up where it sounds like he's in the military. It's like one of those radio mic things.
Okay.
Yeah. So he would have one of those kind of voices on, and he would command these, his team to fight these people, and it was very, very comical. Now he doesn't necessarily do it as often, and he's kind of doing a bunch of other content, and that's where I see myself in the same boat where I can ride this wave of the Asian accent, but eventually, maybe not a year from now, maybe not 2 years from now, but at some point I'm gonna have to come up with something else, which I know I have a lot of ideas in my head, and it's very possible that I may get to that point. There's some ideas that I've had with doing skit content in the gaming industry, and doing like a whole TV show, but in the game, like a telenovela drama series, but in the video game. But that requires a lot of production and pre-production, post-production stuff. But those are all different things that I don't know, that I worry about for the risk of. Right now, everybody knows me as the egg roll guy, and I'm okay with that. But I do worry that it'll get bored.
Wait. Can we just let everybody know egg roll means?
It means you're the male private part. That's when I refer to the
Penis.
egg roll. Yeah, it means penis.
I just wanted to clarify. I see you write like you tweeted or whatever, write a status, and it's something about like he wanted me to prove that I was Asian by showing him my egg roll or something.
Yeah. So egg roll. When I talk about egg roll, I mean penis. So
That's what
I and it's fun and I enjoy it. But I do know that it only goes for so long. At least for that. For Asian accent stuff, you really have to come up with new material with the content.
Okay, this came to me like as an idea, but like, what if? Do you know who Call Me Chris is on TikTok? Do you know who
It
she is?
sounds familiar.
She's like this beautiful blonde. She's tall and like slender with like short blonde hair. She's got like millions of followers. She makes up characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like because you already play this like Asian role, what if you did like this is just because I came off the top of my head, like random squads or random fills or something, and just had a character like written up and said like, okay, this is the character who I am, this is his wife, or this is his husband, or this is his
Hmm.
crazy ex-girlfriend, and like talk about all this like crazy stuff, because then you could really like extend it and make it beyond and get all sorts of different reactions, and then you have
Yeah.
different characters like within that, you know what I mean?
Are you
Was that
saying
be
that I would do different accents, or I would just have these fictitious characters and I would create this story while playing with these random people?
basically something like that. Like each time you join a new game, you could be pretending to be either a different character, or maybe just one day you pick one character, and then the next day you're like, all right, today I'm crazy Uncle Bob,
Right,
and
right, right.
like
So
that's
I've thought about
exaggeration,
that.
but
The challenging part with me is that I wear the rice hat and I wear it every stream. Nobody's ever seen the top of my head unless we've met in person. And if we met in person and it was like at Lufest and I for some reason didn't have it while I was out and about.
I don't think I've seen you without your
Yeah,
rice hat. You've had it on the whole time I've ever seen you.
So I never take off the rice hat. There's a few other voices that I've done, but it's kind of hard to play a Russian taxi cab driver while wearing a rice hat.
But could you not still do your Asian accent, just different Asian characters? They could all just have a different story, like kind of that way. Then you could
could.
keep your rice hat. You don't have
I
to get rid
could,
of the
but I
rice
don't
hat.
know how to necessarily do any other Asian accents other than the Vietnamese one and a Filipino one, which the Filipino
okay.
one is only really funny if people know Filipinos.
Oh,
Because some
okay.
people just don't know the Filipino accent, so it's not
So
as
what
comical.
makes that funnier to know it?
Vietnamese
Like, is it
accent?
just
Oh, well, it's because just because you know it. I think I don't know.
oh,
I guess it would be like if somebody had a Wisconsin accent, because that's like the first one that came to my mind. That was pretty. If it was, if you've never heard it, I guess it wouldn't be that funny if I made references and jokes, unless you know the area, or like a New
Okay.
Yorker accent. You know,
Okay.
if like when they go, "Oh, I'm walking here," you know, like we know that's a mannerism of New Yorkers, so it's
Oh, I
comical.
see.
But if
I
I've
see.
never heard of a New Yorker, I would just be like, "Oh, that dude's an a-hole." You know what I mean?
Why is this funny?
Why is
Yeah,
this
it
guy
sounds
funny? Like he's just
crazy,
being
yeah.
mean. So that, for the Filipino accent, a lot of people know it, but not many people know it. So
I actually do.
you actually
Because
do know the Filipino
I
accent.
actually do, because we had a live-in nanny when our daughter was like really, really small. And the Filipina, basically,
Mhm.
lots of Filipinas here who come here to work as live-in nannies.
Mhm.
So it's also a very big work,
Oh, right,
basically,
yeah.
the oil sand site. So there's lots of people come in from different countries, but there's a lot of Filipina and Filipinos here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Familiar.
so like, you know, with you knowing it, it would be more comical for you, because you're like, oh, I can relate to knowing that accent because, you know, I had a nanny that has that accent. But if nobody's ever heard it, then it's not necessarily that funny, and that's why the Vietnamese accent's typically the most funny one, and then you have the Chinese accent. You don't see a lot of Japanese comedians because the accent's not necessarily funny sounding. It's only like the Vietnamese and the Chinese are that have the funniest accents. That's my opinion.
I guess I don't necessarily see them as funny. I guess, you know what I mean.
Right,
I
right.
love all different accents, but I don't necessarily see them as funny.
That's
But I
fair,
can see why you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us back to the beginning. Like, tell us about how you first got into content creation. So, what do you do as your full-time job, and what got you into content creation?
Okay,
if you don't
so-
mind answering those.
Those are two different timelines.
Okay.
What I do now, I was in the Army. I was a field artilleryman. I shot missiles and rockets.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I served a few years in the Army, got hurt when I was deployed, and I got medically discharged. So now I do inventory analysis and risk mitigation for a big aerospace industry company. I'm not necessarily
Okay.
going to say their name because I don't know if I'll get yelled at or trouble for
Oh,
that.
that's
but
okay. You
you've
don't have to.
more
That's
than
okay.
likely have flown on their plane. If
Okay.
you've flown on any plane here in the U.S. So
Maybe.
it starts with the B. Ends
I
with
don't
the
even.
G. Okay, well,
I don't even know. To
it's
be honest, like
the
WestJet and Air Canada is basically what I mostly fly on, so or
so
Sunwing maybe.
that is the airline company, but the plane that
Mm.
they use is
Oh, got you, got you, got you, got you.
so I do that. So I just sit at a desk and look at numbers all day long and spreadsheets. What got me into content creation? I've loved content since I was like 8 years old. Since I was a kid. I've I wouldn't say I've had a horrible childhood, but it was a pretty
Mm.
rough one, as most people our age do have for the most part. So movies always got me out of that like sad, depressing state,
Mm.
and especially during teenage angst in the early 2000s and all that stuff. Um, watching movies got me out of that. Like the comedies just like made me forget about any issues, problems, stressors, drama,
Mhm.
parent problems, girlfriend problems, and all that stuff. And so I loved being in that world of forgetting about things just for a brief moment. Um, and so I've always loved content, and I have always wanted to be a YouTuber, but I
Aw.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't know how to or what I would do. There were so many different
Mm.
ideas that I had. That I was like, I could do skit stuff. I could do. I'm pretty big into firearms, so I was like, oh, I could do firearm education stuff.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I kept for years just like this is I would want to do this. I would want to do this, but I just never did. And then near the start of COVID, I was just like, kind of just I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna start. And
Okay.
one of my buddies I was playing video games with, his cousin was a streamer on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh, are you? That's so cool, man! Let me go check out your stream." And I was watching his stream, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." But then I was like, "I could do this," and I feel like I could do this like way better. Nothing against the person, but like I was like, I feel like I could do this like way better. Um,
Mm.
so I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna start. So I bought a capture card off of Amazon. I used
Okay.
and this was back in what 2020. I bought the capture card, hooked it up to my 2014 Xbox One, and streamed off of my like 2012 MacBook.
Oh
And
my god.
it was a very interesting experience. My first stream ever was, I mean, I've watched it back a couple times, like a few months ago, and it was cringy. It was very embarrassing. Clearly, I mean, I've evolved a lot since then. But so I just did it, and I started, and then I was like, I want to do more. And I'm also a theater arts guy. I did theater arts in high school, so
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
acting and plays and all that stuff is not new to me, and production and all that stuff is not new to me. So
That's
I
awesome.
wanted to take my production value to the next level, so I started investing in things. But I knew in my heart that I love making content. I love giving a place for people to laugh and just get away from their life for just a brief moment. It's a
Mm.
band-aid. It's not going to fix them. They're still going to have the problems. They're going to still have the bills. But if you could just chuckle a little bit, a laugh a little bit, then like uh, my goal is done. That's all I want to do is just
A
to
hundred
make people
percent.
happy. That's it.
I agree.
So that's what kind of got me started. And then here I am now.
That's awesome. I love that so much. I think sometimes, like, I personally don't like to start stream if I'm in a bad mood,
Hmm.
but there have been times where, like, it's not that I was in a bad mood, but I had a rough day and I joined stream, and then you get familiar people coming in stream, and it literally turns your day around sometimes just to have that moment and everybody saying hi and you have those like laughing
Yeah,
moments and you just
absolutely.
have a good time together, and it just I
Yeah,
don't know, it
absolutely.
feels nice.
Sometimes with streaming, it's almost like you're going over to a hangout with all your closest friends, and although you've had a bad day, there's people in our community that like we were really close to, even though we've never met them in
Mm-hmm.
person, but like they know a lot about us, we know a lot about them, and we can trust them. So when you go live and you're just like, oh, it's a rough day, man, but then you see them and you start talking, and it's just like, oh, this is great. I'm I'm so glad that I came out and essentially hung out with my friends
Basically, yep.
after a stressful day. You know?
Yes. Just have some good times, some
Yeah.
games with friends, some good laughs. I mean, sometimes the games, I don't know about you, but like sometimes we get shit on a lot. But
Yes. Yeah. And that's
it's
where
still fun though.
that's where I try not to take the game too seriously. Where I honestly could care less about wins. I mean, I'm just here to have fun and make people laugh and cackle where their sides are hurting, their cheeks are sore, their face cheeks are sore from laughing.
Oh, not their ass cheeks.
Yeah, not the
Okay,
ass
I
cheeks,
was
the
like,
face
wait
cheeks.
a minute.
I just really enjoy having fun and just being that class clown where it brings joy to me. And it's probably like a defense mechanism because of all the, I guess, teenage childhood trauma and all that stuff, where it's just, it's just my defense mechanism. If I could just make you laugh, then you'll like me. Right? I don't have to prove myself in any way, but if you think I'm funny, then that means you like me, and then that's like, okay, cool.
To put that in like different words, they say that people sometimes don't remember you, they remember how you made them feel.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that kind of fits in with what you just said there, because if I go to the grocery store and I accidentally almost bump into somebody, or like you just kind of pass by, I'm the person to smile or kind of giggle or whatever, because I would rather be that person smiling and like make somebody else smile, even just from a stupid smile. You know what I mean? Like to be nice, and just a small gesture of kindness sometimes can be so much. So
100%. It could literally change their whole day.
Yeah,
Because you don't know what they're
100%.
going through. Because everybody has their own lives and we're all busy and we're all in our own
Yes.
bubble. And, sometimes having somebody just say, hey, thank you. Or, hey, I love your shirt. Or,
Yes.
wow, I like your hair. Or, wow, you're such a good parent. Or, just hearing those words of affirmation can literally just change your whole day, especially coming from
It's
a
true.
stranger, because they have no value in telling you something nice or mean. There's
That's true.
there's no value there's no gain for them to be nice or mean. So when somebody
Exactly.
is nice
Yes.
to you, you're just like, wow, like thank you so much for being so nice to me.
I agree 1,000,000%. Kindness goes a long way.
It
So
really does.
Yeah. You mentioned that you were a theater kid. Do you have any like big, or maybe it was a high school production or any other productions that you were like a part of? Did you have
I was
any
part of a
memorable
few.
plays?
I was part of one play, and I played a Russian taxi cab driver named Vladimir.
Okay, is that
That's-
why you brought that up
And that's why I
earlier?
brought it up. Yeah, because so I was part of one play, and I had like maybe 4 lines. I don't remember any of the lines except for "Hello, I'm Vladimir. I drive taxi cab in Moscow."
That was your line?
Yeah, that was like my line. And I don't know if there's any videos of it. I'm sure some of my classmates' parents have videos somewhere stashed away on some VHS somewhere.
Probably.
But that's about it. And then after that, I did more production value stuff because I really liked woodworking and I liked working with my hands. So I did a
okay.
lot of lighting stuff, sound, stage design stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So just the whole production value of things. So I really enjoyed all of that stuff. Nothing that people could probably find. I'm sure there's somebody on the internet that could probably, if they dug deep enough, they would find it. But nothing that I have found.
okay.
But yeah, I love theater arts. I love acting. I would love to be in a feature film. I'd love to be
Ooh.
not necessarily a movie star, but in a movie, just to say that I was part of a
In a
movie.
movie?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because I think I mentioned to my chat previously that I would really love to do voice acting. I don't need to be on the screen.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would love to do like voice acting. I just think that would be so fun. You're probably maybe in that same boat.
Yeah, I mean, I would be totally down to do voice
Yeah.
acting. I don't know necessarily how to get into it, but it would be awesome. It would be absolutely awesome.
Okay, so when you talked about growing up consuming lots of content, at first I was a little confused, because I was like, wait, like YouTube didn't exist when
Right,
we
yeah,
were
yeah.
like when I was 12, it didn't exist.
Right.
But if you think about it, movies, TV
Yes.
shows, that's technically still content.
Yes, yeah.
Just we never saw it that way, I guess.
Yeah.
So what are some pieces of content you grew up with that really influenced, I guess, the panda we know
Sure.
today.
One of my favorite movies was Zoolander as a kid. It
As a
was
kid, that's amazing.
it was my favorite movie. I mean, I would quote that movie so much because it's so dumb
I
and
know.
idiotic. But like, it's just because of how stupid it was, it just brightened my day because of how outlandish the lines and the scenes were. Like the whole gasoline fight scene where they were like having
Oh
a
my
water gun
gosh.
fight, but
Yeah,
they're
and
using
then they're
gasoline
like,
and just
yes.
like, what is this? And then just like the files are in the computer. Like it's just so idiotic. It's
Yes.
funny. So a lot of that stuff kind of molded my comedy of just saying the most outlandish dumb things that it's just so dumb that it's funny. So that would be one of the major ones that I watched a lot as a kid. Some Asian films that have Jackie Chan in them because he's a comedic action film
Right.
person. So a lot of that stuff, but mainly just really dumb comedy stuff.
Okay,
Was like
have
my
you
content.
seen Kung Fu Hustle?
Of yes, 100%. That's also a very just outlandishly dumb film.
That movie, okay, so did you know this is totally like a tangent, but apparently you can't really watch the English dub anywhere on any like streaming
really?
platform because apparently the English dub, and I remember watching the English
I do
dub.
too.
I had it on DVD and it was funny as fuck. I don't know what it was specifically in there, but apparently there was some very racially hurtful things that in there that I wouldn't
Oh.
have known the difference. Like I don't know what it was.
Oh,
But I
yeah,
couldn't
no.
find out. But apparently you can't watch the English dub anymore.
Wow, didn't know that. I mean, I haven't seen it for years. But yeah, that's another just stupid movie that just is just the comedy, but it's like comedic genius. At least to me, it is. It's just comedic genius.
Have you seen Nacho Libre?
I have seen Nacho Libre. I've
That's like one of my favorite movies.
I'm honestly not necessarily a huge fan of Nacho Libre.
Okay, that's fair.
It's funny, but I don't know. There was just something about it that I couldn't get behind, I guess. I kind of was like that with Napoleon Dynamite.
Same with Napoleon. Oh,
But
love
I came
Napoleon
around to it.
Dynamite.
I came around to
Okay.
it and I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. But the first time I watched it, I was like, this isn't Zoolander. This isn't like
Oh, it's definitely not. It's definitely
you know,
not Zoolander, but
But then after I watched it again, I was like, okay, I get it. It's pretty funny. So yeah, those films kind of molded me. And then yeah, like YouTube didn't come out till what is it? Probably 2000, and so I think I was like in middle school, high school
maybe I'll look it up.
time
When
frame.
did-
But there was like E-Bombs World had a lot. I don't know if you guys remember that website.
I do remember E-Bombs
But I
World,
watched
yeah.
a lot of E-Bombs World stuff. And so just watching all of that stuff, it really, I was just like, I love this stuff because it's making me laugh and I want to do the same for others. Also just wanting to be in film and theater arts and stuff like that. So that really just like I don't want to do content. Like I am content, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I truly love making film, short film, skits. It doesn't even matter if it's comedy. It can be action. It can be drama. I would love to do a drama short film
Okay.
to try and push my creativity outside of just funny bits and stuff like that. Because I can do funny, but I would like to try to invoke sadness and emotion like that through short film. I
Okay.
really love short films. If I could do
So-
that, I would do that.
Do you think you see yourself doing that in the future then? Like something you would adapt into your content, do you
It's
think?
possible depending on if the PandaSkills egg roll empire crashes and burns.
No.
I think. I mean,
No, it's not gonna crash
I,
and burn.
I wouldn't. You know, it just depends because if I'm still like the PandaSkills character down the road, me doing that kind of content wouldn't do well because it would be like if, for instance, Doctor Disrespect did a drama film but he wasn't Doctor Disrespect, because I wouldn't be PandaSkills that's
Mm.
saying doing the Asian accent. It would be a serious film, so it's just like a very comedic character in a drama would be,
I feel
you
like
know,
I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel superficially you're this guy. Do you know what I mean?
right,
But as you grow your audience and as that gets bigger and bigger, people are going to know you for you at the same time,
right,
especially
yeah, yeah.
if you include those things along the way. Because the one thing a lot of people don't, I feel, well, they talk about it, but I find it really hard to be niched. I'm not niched. Do you know what I mean? So
I would disagree. I
you
would
think I'm
disagree with you.
you
I would
think I'm
say,
niched?
I
What's
think
my niche?
you're body painting. Now
Oh,
everybody
I
does
suppose.
do body painting, but that is your niche, and it's impressive.
Thank you. Thank you
The body
very
painting
much.
that you do is, I mean, I have
Oh,
literally just very very impressed with it. Because I mean, first of all, not only are you painting and it looks so accurate and so realistic, because like there's times where I'm scrolling and I see a picture of you where you're in your body paint, and I literally I think it was like a Dragon Ball Z character.
oh,
I
maybe.
and I think you I was like, I thought you were actually wearing the body armor. Like I
Oh, it
legitimately
might have been
thought,
Vegeta.
I
Was it the
think it might.
Vegeta one,
I don't
maybe?
know if it was the because that was a very comical one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, you did. I think I don't know which one it was. Might be. It
It's
might have
okay.
been the Piccolo one or something like
Oh,
that.
maybe.
Either way, it was just I thought it was
Thank
real,
you.
and then you're also doing it on your body.
Yes.
You're using a mirror. It's not like you can get up close and personal, you know, like Leonardo da Vinci, and really, you know, get the, you know, really
Oh,
up close and personal. So you to be able to do it with a mirror is just impressive, absolutely
thank
impressive.
you. Thank you
So
so
I would say
much.
that would be your niche there.
Okay, but let's consider the fact that I feel like for me this isn't necessarily all about me, but I do like my racing, I do my body paint, I play
Another cool
Fortnite.
thing of
I
you.
do like, but that's what I'm saying. I create variety. So
Mm-hmm.
who's to say you can also be the variety Asian guy. You don't have to just be the
It's
egglings. Oh my god,
it's
the
true.
dumpling egg roll guy. You know what I
But I
mean?
think with my Asian accent though, it's such a strong niche that it's like,
Mm.
well, why aren't you doing the accent? You know what I mean? That's where I was worried about with doing the Asian accent, was that they expect it now. Like if you were to take a, like if Arnold Schwarzenegger was to do a film but he didn't have his accent, you'd be like, hmm, what's going on here? You
You
know?
would, but do you think like they got to get their toes wet somehow, like and get used to you? Like when
True.
I first started posting like car content on my page, I've had people be like, "Just make a car page." I'm like, "No." Like
Right.
everything is going on this page. If you don't like it, you can
Sure.
leave, but that's how
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
it.
No, and that car content is also really really cool.
Thank
I've
you.
very much enjoyed it. Your racing stuff is really cool, and then the your
Thank
old
you.
school bug. I don't know what it is, but
It's a
that's
beetle,
really,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
bug.
the beetle. That's really cool stuff. I mean, the things that you do, it's like you are a variety content creator and a very successful one at that.
Oh, thank you.
And that's really hard. I've always felt that being a variety content creator is like 10 times harder.
I feel like it's possible for everybody though, and that's the one thing like I think I mean, I feel algorithms push it and also, you know, you watch videos saying like, "Oh, how to start making content, pick a niche and
Hmm.
start whatever." You know what I mean? So yes, there's some base to that, but once you have your audience, I feel like you have room to at least explore it. Like
Yes.
it's not saying you have to totally ditch it. It could be like, okay, once a week, I'm going to focus on making this dramatic video. Like what if there's a way you could incorporate your Asian
That's true.
self
So
into that? You know what I mean?
I think maybe down the road I could, because I do have that core community that's like,
Mhm.
I love Panda for Panda and not,
Yeah.
you know, the video game that he plays. I guess I still consider myself a pretty small content creator, because all of my growth and fame has just kind of recently came to me, which I wouldn't say it's growth and fame, but I've been hitting some crazy numbers and growth
That's
over the
awesome.
course of 4 months. So to me, I don't. It hasn't fully hit me yet that I'm hitting numbers on this platform that big streamers of the industry of Call of Duty are also getting.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm matching them with the same numbers and all that stuff, which you shouldn't compare numbers. But it kind of go. It just for me, it's like, okay, I've got to be doing something right if I'm
Yes.
pulling the same
Yes.
numbers as everybody else. I have the same amount of views. I've got the same amount of people coming in. So, I'm doing something right.
Your people have found you. That's
Yes.
what it is
Yeah.
people who like your content have found you, and now they're chilling with you. That's definitely some reassurance for you too, right? That
Yeah,
you feel like
100%.
the content you're making is good if people are watching it.
Right. And it feels everything feels great and just feels surreal right now where it's just like,
Mm,
holy, I'm just getting growth and I'm hitting milestones after milestones
that's
on
awesome.
multiple platforms, uh, being a multi streamer. But you're right though. I would like to do more YouTube video content. I
Mm,
just think that strategically, growth wise, I shouldn't change it just yet.
okay.
Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Also true.
You know,
Just ride it out,
just kind
basically.
of write it out.
Yes.
Not that I'm not planning other content ideas or thinking about other content ideas for the future, but if it ain't broke, I don't need to fix it. So I'm gonna keep
Also
doing
true.
this, and then also trying to re-innovate my content so it seems fresh and it seems new. So I'm not making the same egg roll joke every 2 seconds, and they're just like, I've already heard you do the Asian accent with the egg roll joke, so it's like, what else can you do? So all of that stuff you have to take in consideration as a content
Mm,
creator, and as a streamer. And it's interesting as a content creator and streamer. There's like, it's two different worlds. You can be just a streamer, and you can be just a content creator, uh, but you can't say that you're a streamer and content creator unless you make content. If all you do is go live, then I see you as just a streamer and not a
mm-hmm.
content creator. And
Mm-hmm.
we all know that you don't grow while you're live,
The
in
thing
my
is,
opinion.
unless you're doing something with it after the fact, do you know what I'm saying? Like if
Yes.
you're streaming and you've got purpose and you're actually, I guess you could loosely make content and just stream it, and hopefully you get something funny, hopefully you get a good shot,
Right.
hopefully you get a good something, a reaction or something to be able to put somewhere. But definitely, I think any content creator is hopefully doing more than just streaming, because
Right.
that's definitely, I think, a huge part in growth nowadays is making yourself available on all platforms to try and get people to see your content,
Yeah,
basically.
100%. You really
Mm-hmm.
you really got to put yourself out there and your personality. That's one thing when a lot of people ask me, not that anybody asked the question, but I'm going to ask myself the question. People ask me, "What is your best tip as a starting out streamer, small
Mm-hmm.
streamer?" And I always say your personality. Your personality will
Okay,
never be like somebody else's.
this is
I
true.
You will never be like me and I will never be like you. We may have similarities, but you are you. That is your individuality right there, and that is what you need to focus on is your individuality and trying to capture that in your content and in your live streams, and then put it out to the world to try to find other people that are similar to you, that have same
Mm-hmm.
tendencies, that have same likes, to bring them in. I can't be like a Dr. Disrespect because there's only one kind of personality like that. There's, you know
Ah,
what I mean?
yes.
So that is my number one advice for people that are just starting out as a content creator is focus on your personality and try
Mm-hmm.
to expose it. I know it's really hard to do when you first start out because you're like, there's cameras, there's chat. I'm trying to read, I'm trying to play the game, I'm trying to, maybe get a clip, and I want to be a gamer and all that stuff. And it's just like, but your personality is what's gonna sell. A lot of these big streamers, they all have personalities.
Yes.
They're not a lump on a log when you watch them. I don't know any big streamer that just sits there and just stares at the video game and doesn't talk to chat,
I
doesn't
agree.
say anything. they all have personalities, and that's where people forget. It's like, oh, well, I should be making loadout videos, or I should be doing here's the new, season 5 Fortnite update. If you're going to do that, great, but where's your personality?
I really agree with you because it really doesn't matter how good you are at the game or what your production quality is. Because you were talking about how you watched like back your first stream and you said it was really cringy. I remember my first stream and like I had the shittiest PC and it would always crash. And I was like using the drywall in my basement as the background. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like everybody starts somewhere. And I
Hmm.
think that's something as well, as a piece of advice for new streamers or content creators, is you start somewhere and you get better from there. Not everybody starts at the top. All these big top
Hmm.
streamers with big
Yeah.
personalities, they probably were shy in the beginning, to be honest,
100%.
right? Like we all start out with like cracking out of this little pistachio shell, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you blossom
work
into
your-
to what you have, you know?
exactly. You kind of work your way into it, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you feel, right? Obviously,
100%.
like you said, gaming, reading chat. I mean, I've been doing this for like 3 years now, and I'm still scuffed. Sometimes I don't
Same.
read chat while I'm gaming. but-
100%. Same. I've been doing it. I started in September of 2020, so I'm coming up on my 3-year mark.
Nice.
And same. It's a challenge, but
Yes.
just understanding that your core community should understand that you will miss comments, and then understand that it takes time.
Yes.
It takes a
absolutely.
very long time to get to where you're at, and the grind is never done. You always got to be re-innovating yourself and your content, and trying to try new things and all this stuff, just like what you do. You're literally a prime example of the things that you post on Facebook. You've got so many different variations, but it's all
thank
great.
you.
And then that's the other thing too, is once you've gotten to that point, is the quality of it. The quality of it, and how you orchestrate your content is great. I absolutely love it. The way
thank
you
you.
do your
Thank you
car
so
stuff,
much.
the way you do your body painting stuff, it's all great stuff. So like it's
Thank
just
you.
that right there is just a prime example.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. I have to shout out to Kyle because he definitely is huge in helping me with content, not just the car stuff, but just in general. He's such
Yeah,
a big help. So, shout out to him.
Big shout out to him.
Yeah. So, streamer, gamer, content creator. Also, you work at this airline company and you have a family. So,
I
like,
do.
what do you guys like to do when you're not doing all these?
So I have 4 kids. I have a 14 or 13-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, a 5-year-old son, and a 2-year-old son.
Dang.
So we are very busy. So
Yes.
when I'm not streaming, we're doing baseball stuff, fast pitch stuff, and then that's pretty much it. That like takes a majority of our time.
Do you get snow there?
Yeah, so I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in
Oh, okay.
Washington. So we don't get a lot of snow unless it's like wintertime, but even then it's not like crazy.
Oh, okay.
It does rain here a lot, so we get a lot of rain, but that's pretty much, I mean, my time is just kids, family, work, content. Kids, family, work, content. Kids, family, work, content. It's just
But-
over and over again.
Honestly, if as long as you are having fun and you enjoy what you do, though, like when you say it that way, it sounds so monotonous. But I
Yeah.
mean, as kids grow, you already know this. You have a 13-year-old like
Yeah.
I do, basically, that they are constantly changing. They have different
Mm-hmm.
personalities, different situations arise. So like, it's always new and exciting with them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So-
being a dad is literally and will always be one of the best things and accomplishments I could have ever done as a human being.
Aw,
I
that's so
love
sweet.
being a father, and raising these kids. And as much as I want to just punch them in the face, I also want to hug and kiss them. You know, they're a pain in the butt, but
Yes,
God, I
know
love
what
them.
mean.
You know,
I know what you mean,
so
absolutely.
and it's great. But it's busy, and we just every day is a new day, and yeah, I did make it sound kind of just boring, but that's the life of it. I
It is,
truly
though.
love making content, so I have to rework my schedule and whatnot for them, and if you truly want it, you got to fight for it, and you got to fight hard for it.
Yes,
You know.
absolutely. So, is there now, let's go back to streaming and your community. Has there been a very memorable moment on stream for you? Is there something that like sticks out for you where it was like the best moment ever on stream
So
that you
I've had a
experienced?
lot of amazing moments
Please
with
tell
streaming.
me. Yeah.
I don't know if there's the best. Um, my my very first memorable moment was very small streamer, very first starting out, and I got my very first raid from another streamer.
Oh, that's
And it was
awesome.
about 10 people, and they came in with so much love. And it came from her streamer name is Rutabaga,
Okay.
like the vegetable. I think it's like a vegetable.
Look,
Uh,
rutabaga. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And so she rated me, and they came in with so much love and support, and they were sending, stars and stars and stars and whatnot. And it wasn't like a huge amount of, I think in total, maybe it was like $50 worth of stars, which don't get me wrong is huge. It's massive.
Especially if
Um,
you're like you say, you
but like
feel like
as
you're
a,
a small streamer. You
right.
know what I mean?
But
You.
as a small streamer, it was just like, oh my gosh. Like they just, my chat
Aw.
was moving, my alerts were going off, and it was just 10 people. And I know, like, I'm saying like it was just 10 people. I mean, because now like I get quite a bit of people, but it was such a memorable moment that I was just like, wow, that was insane. And that was crazy. And then all the nice things that they were saying was just awesome. The next one was somebody he doesn't come around often anymore. I actually haven't heard from him in a while, so I hope he's okay. But this was a couple years ago. He donated me like $800 in one night. And this was when I was
Wow.
still a small streamer. I mean, I had again like 10 people in my stream, and he just donated like $800 to me, and I
Oh
cried.
my
I
gosh.
cried on stream because it was just like
Oh.
I was already like I think probably 6 7 months into it, and trying to figure things out as a streamer, and it was just a very emotional moment for me. And I don't cry often because I was in the military, and I'm pretty on the outside. I'm pretty rough, and like I've seen some things, and it was just a very touching moment to somebody just to give you that much amount of money. It was absolutely insane to see that. Like
Yes.
somebody just said, I love your content and your personality so much. Here's $800. And it was
That
just,
that's wild.
it's
Like
just wild.
amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, I was only at like maybe 1,000 followers. Again, I know I say 1,000 because like I don't want to disregard any small streamer that might be listening to this
Absolutely.
going, oh,
Yes.
well, I'm only 1,000. That's
Sometimes
like
it
crazy
feels
to me.
like yesterday though, right?
Right,
Where
yeah.
you're like, wow, I remember when it was
Right,
this, but
yeah,
now it's you know what I
yeah.
mean? You definitely
So
to acknowledge how far you've come.
it was crazy to think of, and I was just like, oh my gosh. It was such a touching moment. And then now recently, uh just yesterday, I hit 50,000 followers on Facebook. Thank
Congrats. That's
you.
awesome.
So doing that, and then yesterday's stream, I hit over 1,000 reactions on stream. So like on a live stream, which is kind of crazy to accomplish because sure you could post something and it'll go viral, but
Mhm.
this was 1,000 of my actual followers had come through. So and it ended up
That's
being over
awesome.
1,500 reactions on my live stream. So I know for a fact at least 1,500 people came to my live stream, and that was just such a I knew when I was getting close. We were at like 960. I could feel that warmness in your heart where you're like about to cry,
Aw.
and I was
Yeah.
just like, I can't cry, and I didn't, luckily, because like I don't
There's
like.
nothing wrong with
It's-
crying, Panda.
I
Just
know, I
saying.
know, but it's just but I felt that emotion.
I love that.
And still thinking about it right now, it's just like it's kind of getting me choked up of just there's so many people that love me, that love my content, that have DM'd me and go, you have brought me out of this dark place, and you've
Oh.
brightened my day, or I'm sick and you've helped me through all of this, or my wife and I or my husband and I love your content, or my kids and I love your content, and you guys make me laugh, and it just we look so forward to your streams and your content,
Aw.
and it's just like hearing that is just like, oh my god, that's like that's literally all I wanted to do in life. And although I've never been in a film, and although I'm not at 100,000 followers or 200 million followers, and I don't make millions of dollars, I feel like I've succeeded as a content creator and as a streamer.
Mm-hmm.
I could legitimately just stop now, although still be sad about it, but feel proud that I was able to change some people's lives, uh, whether it be through laughter or financial support. It's nice to know that I can help people that are just
Mm-hmm.
struggling, and then there's people that I don't even know are struggling, and they DM me, and they're just like, "Thank you so much tonight. I truly needed it. I truly needed it," and it's
Aww.
just so it's just it was that was one of the special moments of just hitting that milestone of breaking over 1,000 reactions on a live stream. Um, was just it's just still seems surreal to me.
I think I'm gonna say this as like so maybe not all creators get messages, but no matter how small or how big of a creator you are, like, because I feel like in the beginning, if you get a message like that where someone's like, I love your artwork or I love
Mm-hmm.
your content or like really they didn't have to send me that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They didn't have to send me anything to say, "Hey, I really like what you're doing," or "You've inspired me to do this," or "You've inspired me to try something." Like they didn't have to say that and they chose to. And it genuinely excuse me. It literally is that heartwarming feeling. Like I remember
yes.
feeling that when I was like I still consider myself a small streamer,
Mm-hmm.
but I've definitely grown with the community and I have an audience. And even still, like somebody will message me and be like, "Listen, I really like the podcast or I really like this or that or the other thing, like keep it up." And people can be so encouraging and it hits just as hard every single time. For me personally, and I feel
Oh,
like you probably
yeah,
feel the
a
same
hundred,
way
100%.
because
It
yeah.
it goes back to what we were talking about earlier of somebody random just saying a nice thing. They get
Yes,
no
yeah.
gain by saying something nice or mean. So when they say something
Yes.
nice, you're just like, wow. It's not like
Absolutely.
we're gonna send them money because they said something nice, or we're gonna play video games with them because they said something nice. They just, out of the kindness of their heart, said, "We enjoy what you do,
Yes.
and so thank you for that." And it's
Exactly.
just like, oh God, thank you
Especially
so much.
I feel like I mean, you probably get it too to a certain degree as well, where like there's always the unhappy people, the
Oh yeah,
negative
I
people.
mean, yeah, it
Those
is
will always exist. So like when you see the complete opposite when they're like, "No, I love your content. I love this." And it's just so I mean, not that I look for validation outside, but I love the content that I make and to know that it's being received and the way that it's meant to be received is the best feeling in the world as a content
100%,
creator, really. You know what I
hundred
mean?
percent.
Like,
It just feels great.
yeah.
It turns your sadness, your rough day. I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
I get DMs for people just being generally and genuinely nice, it's just like, oh, thank you. Like it just, again, words of affirmation, making you feel that what you're doing is the right thing to do, and you're doing what you know your passion and in your heart is, and you're just like, I'm doing the right thing, and this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yes, I agree with that feeling. It's
Yeah.
very validating, right?
Yeah,
In
hundred
that
percent, and
scenario.
it
Yep.
just it motivates you to keep doing more and more and more and more.
Yes. Um, let's talk about because the egg rolls and the dumplings and
Sure.
the trolling and COD in proximity chat. Do you have like some favorite moments from that you'd
Um,
want to tell us about?
sure. I mean, I have a few clips that I enjoy. That some clips that I thought would be absolute bangers and just completely go viral that didn't. But a couple
Mm.
that I guess come to mind. I mean, one was just the general comedy that one of the friends that I play with, she pulled a joke on me, and it caught me so off guard. Um, she started off with, did you know that there's sex positions that make ugly babies? I was like, no, what's that? And she's like, I don't know.
The
You
one
should
that
ask
your
your
parent.
mom. Yeah, and I was just
Yeah, I knew
like,
that was coming.
oh my! It took me a second, and then I was just like, yo, what the F, bro? That's wild. So that there, and
That's
then,
funny.
I mean, I've done the egg roll bit so much, and just hearing people's genuine laughter at it, and knowing
Hmm.
that, like, I remember one guy was saying is like, this has been the greatest. I've never had so much fun on COD. It was some random guy. He's like, I've never had so much fun playing COD in my entire life without, forget
Aw.
getting the dub and forget getting the
Yeah.
high kills. This was an absolute blast. And so like
That's
that there
awesome.
again is just like being able to turn such a crappy game, because it's in a really bad state right now, and
Oh,
make it fun
you
for
coming to
somebody.
Fortnite?
I'm really bad at Fortnite. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, if COD goes to complete crap, then yeah, I mean, the plus side with my Asian accent uh bit is that I could play anything as long as I have teammates to
Absolutely.
to troll and joke with and all that stuff.
Yes.
So being able to niche that out, it really expands my ability to make content anywhere. And it doesn't matter
Absolutely.
what game it is, as long as there's teammates, I can still recreate the same stuff. Now, if there is no teammates, then sure, I could still do my Asian bit. But hearing that genuine laughter from other people, it's contagious.
Mm.
And I learned that and I understood that. And so now a lot of my content is revolved around capturing other people's genuine laughs, because when somebody starts laughing and smiling, it's hard not to laugh and smile with them, you
Hmm.
know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's there's not really a moment, but I
There's a
definitely do
general
have fun.
feeling
Yeah,
of
yeah,
basically making people laugh.
yeah. It's just I like to make people laugh and just everybody have a good time.
There's
Uh,
dinosaurs in Fortnite right now, by the way.
I
Like,
saw that,
hmm
and I'm just so bad at the game, and
but
that's
you
it.
could be good at like. I mean,
I could. It goes back to the whole, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, sure.
and it's very possible that I might come to Fortnite, but I know with certain platforms like Facebook for sure, if you stream anything else than what you mainly stream, it for some reason they tank your algo, and like
Really?
they don't push your stuff out. Yeah, a
Oh,
lot
okay.
of I mean, there's a lot of big streamers that have hundreds and thousands of followers, but because they stream a different game because they're tired of playing this one crappy game or it's in a bad
Mm.
state,
Hmm.
they play something else, and then all of a sudden their streams are just struggling. It just
Hmm.
doesn't notify people. That's the downside. One of the cons of Facebook is that their notification system is really bad.
Is it
It's
okay?
it's really bad. You don't get notified.
I think I like tried streaming Fortnite on there maybe like once or twice, but I find that that's definitely like Twitch is my place for Fortnite. I
Right,
think I
yeah.
might still do like one day every now and then, but Twitch is still my place for
Yeah, yeah.
Fortnite.
Facebook it's interesting, and really the only real streams that really pop off, like you see on Twitch, where you see like 15,000 viewers and stuff like that, is like mobile games. But
Hmm.
usually they're like foreign country streamers, like people
Oh,
in
okay.
Vietnam or like India and stuff like that, or Mexico, and they're playing some weird mobile game of some sort.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
for Call of Duty, which is a very big game in on Twitch, it doesn't see the same amount of numbers as it does on Facebook. So it's a
Okay.
challenge.
I
But
never even
you know,
thought about the fact of them like categorizing games that way,
mhm.
but
Yeah,
continue,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, yeah, but that's pretty much it. Is that the way they categorize it? It's just for some reason those games do better on the mobile games do better on Facebook than Twitch and Fortnite. If you were to go or Facebook and Twitch, if you were to look at right now all the live viewers that are watching Call of Duty or Fortnite, it's leaps and bounds on Twitch. There's
Okay.
way more people. So that's the downside, is that there's watching streamers on Facebook is fairly new, and then the games that
Mm.
you watch on there, there's not a lot of people. There's just not a lot of
Okay.
people. And that's but you can still grow on there. I mean, I'm growing, but it's also very struggling because there's certain partnered streamers that are also struggling there that I'm doing better
Okay.
than, and I don't know why. you
Like, do you
know.
think that's goes back to the conversation about the algorithm change,
I think
maybe?
it
Like, where they're
goes.
just
I
changing
think it
it
goes
and
back to the algorithm. I
mhm.
also think it does go back to play in the factor of the platform itself. And then I
Oh,
also
okay.
do like to contribute it to the content creator themselves too, because it goes back to what we talked
Oh,
about
okay.
of if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and all of a sudden it changes.
Yeah.
You also got to remember that you can keep doing the same thing over and over again, but eventually people will get tired of it. They'll get bored of it. They've already seen plenty of 1v3s, 1v4s, and all that stuff. You have
Mm.
to constantly re-innovate your content. You have to constantly go, okay, what can I do next that nobody else has seen? And a lot of prime
Yes.
examples of that are the big YouTubers that we see today, like Mr. Beast. Is what's the next thing that I can do?
Yes.
You can only do the same thing over and over and over again, and then it's just like, okay, I've seen the gameplay stuff. But comedy is a good avenue to go down because comedy is funny is always funny. It doesn't matter,
I
how
feel
many,
like comedy is evolving too. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like over time, different things become funny, new memes,
yes,
new whatever. Like honestly, sorry, I have a tickle in my throat, but I don't know what we did before memes. Because you think about, you could send somebody a picture with
mm-hmm,
no words on it, no context, and if it's a meme that was like a viral meme, they probably know what it means. You could
right,
send it in a situation where it would make sense and people would get it.
yeah,
And like, it's just so funny how we've evolved to that point where it's like,
yeah.
it's a form of communication almost, so it's kind of fun to play on
No,
memes and
hundred
stuff too,
percent.
right?
I completely agree. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
comedy is, yeah, comedy and content creation is constantly evolving, and
Yes.
it's trying to figure out how to stay ahead of it or keep up with it. But still, as a creator, as an individual, you got to think, okay, what else can I do? What else can I change that I think would incite engagement and viewer retention? Because that's what the algo likes on any platform. If you have good viewer
Mm-hmm.
retention and engagement, then it will get pushed out. But
Yes.
people
Yeah.
will keep posting the same stuff and go, well, this one did really well one time. I don't know why it got picked up, but you have to constantly think, okay, what is going to increase my viewer retention and engagement? And that's
Yes.
what a lot of streamers kind of forget, and even the bigger streamers, they kind of forget. I think, in my opinion, that they just go, "Oh, well, I'm a big streamer, so people should come watch me." I have hundreds and thousands of viewers. People should watch me, but why? Why should I still
There
watch
probably
you?
are. I feel like to call someone a streamer nowadays, not everybody fits in the same bucket
Hmm.
within the streamer category. Because there are people who are big streamers. Like, I don't know how anybody could ever keep up with a chat if they had like 9,000 people
Yeah,
watching
right.
them.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I
So, like,
agree.
I feel like if you reach that point, you definitely become maybe you could probably still interact to a certain degree,
Hmm.
but not with everybody. Um, there's definitely lines of separation because there are some people who get on and they absolutely don't even like acknowledge their
Right.
chat,
Which
and
I mean, and that's fine too, and that's
yeah,
great. And I'm glad that it works for them. But I just,
I like talking in
yeah,
chat. I don't know about
I
you, but
love connecting with the
yeah,
community,
hmm,
and building that. And I know that at some point, yeah, if I had 9,000 people, it would be hard to connect with each individual one.
yes,
However, you could still connect with the community as a whole.
absolutely,
Basically like a
yes,
public speaker.
yes.
When you go to a convention and you speak, you could still connect with everybody there. And I think that's where some people, and I'm not, saying anybody
No, no,
specifically, but
you don't, and you don't have to. No,
but
that's
like, it
fine.
just, there's certain, just some people just also just can't forget, like, hey, yes, the platform's kind of tanking or the game is kind of tanking. What are you going to do about it? What are you
Mm,
going to do about your content? And there are individuals that are going, you know what, I'm going to change things up and I'm going to try different things, and it's great and it's working for them, and they're trying different things. They're throwing a bunch of stuff on the wall and seeing what sticks.
seeing what sticks,
See
basically.
what
Yeah,
sticks. And so,
yeah.
that stuff, that's you just got to do. You just got to go out there and try different things, and but then also understand that, like, just because it doesn't work doesn't mean that it won't work later, and just because it doesn't work, it's not you. It's also, there's so
Yeah,
many factors.
Absolutely. That's like there's literally tons of variables because like could be the time of day, it could be just the audience it showed it to, it could be just right now it just isn't the right time for that to hit, and
Mm-hmm.
something similar could totally pop off again
Yeah,
at a later date, right?
100%,
Yeah.
100%. So it's there's a lot to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you mostly play COD, right? Is that the
Yes.
only thing that you play?
That is the currently the only game I play right now.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to the whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know that I'm decent enough at COD that I can entertain people that want to watch gameplay, but I'm also funny enough that I can just entertain people while playing it.
Mm.
That's where I struggle with if I go play Fortnite. I'm not good enough to be able to play it and still be comedic where you could go, oh wow, like that was awesome watching you do a 1v3 or you get this really cool snipe or whatever it is.
Mhm. It would
Because
take time. I
yeah,
feel
it
like
would
you
take
would get
time.
it. It would just
Yeah,
take time, yeah.
you know, with enough time, I would
Yeah.
probably get good at it. But because I don't want to risk my community going, I'm not Fortnite, or I'm not Apex, or I'm not Sea of Thieves, or Escape from Tarkov, or
Sure.
whatever it is. I just mainly play COD, and then who knows if I'll still be playing COD a year from now or 2 years from now. The game might just go to crap, or we'll see when we
I
cross
guess
that
you
bridge.
you
Yeah,
never know, I guess.
you know.
So what kind of games did you grow up playing? Did you have games growing up, or was there a game that got you into COD to begin with?
So there wasn't a lot of games that got me into COD growing up. I mean, as a kid, I had Super Mario, I had Tekken, I even played Diablo on the
Okay.
PlayStation, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, what is it, Pikmin. So
Okay.
like games like that, Ratchet and Clank. So those games I played, none of them I really like played a lot of. I played a lot of Mortal Kombat, Diablo, and Tekken.
Okay.
But then I didn't really get into first person shooters until I joined the army, and they're like, hey, we have this, shooter game that, is really fun playing. And so I played that, and then I just got hooked. I just got
Okay.
hooked, and then that's just what I played from then on. There's games that I love playing that I could play for hours, like Sea of Thieves. Absolutely love that game. It's beautiful. And I could just literally just mindlessly just play that game for 20 hours and be
What's
like,
that
oh,
one about?
it's pirates. So it's
Oh, okay.
it's PvP, PvP, open map. So you can do events where you try to get a bunch of treasure and you try to become a pirate legend. And I absolutely love doing that. Or you could actually battle people on boats and shoot cannons at each other and try to scuttle their boat and then take
Oh.
all their loot and then go sell it at the merchant and all that stuff. So it's a absolutely fun game. But I'm not good at it. I just love playing it.
Okay.
I
Do
just
you
really
play that
enjoy
one on
playing it.
stream too, or is that just like
I've played
just
it
in your own
on
time?
stream, but I haven't played it on stream in a very long time. I also don't play any games outside of when I'm live. If I'm not live, I'm not gaming. Typically.
Okay. Okay.
Typically, unless the wife's like, "Hey, do you want to go play video games?" and I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. Who wouldn't?" You know.
Yeah.
But
What
other than
kind of
that,
games
though,
does she play?
she just plays Call of Duty. She just
Oh,
plays
that's
the Call of
awesome.
Duty with me, and she
Aw.
has a blast doing it, or at least I think she has a blast doing it. I'm not sure.
Well, if she's asking you, then she must
right.
enjoy it to
Yeah,
a
so
certain degree,
she's
right? Yeah.
and it's fun playing with her and just hearing her struggle with the game because she's not very good at it, but she has fun doing it, and it's just adorable listening to her struggle and I don't know where my shoot button is and how do I pick this up and stuff like that.
Aw.
So it's a lot of fun and I appreciate her so much partaking in something that I enjoy doing because it's not something that she grew up doing, but because she's such an amazing wife that she's like, I want to involve myself in things that he likes to do.
Aw, that's so
So
sweet.
I'm very grateful for her, and shout out to her for allowing me to do this because I'm
Shout out, Miss
sacrificing
Panda.
so much time away from the family. 4 hours, 5 hours, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, of just being with the community and gaming while she is taking care of 4 kids. So it means the world to me that she allows me to chase my passion and dreams to do this as a
Absolutely.
side thing.
I having a supportive partner, like especially in a family
Mhm.
environment, is so important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you guys didn't have kids and it was just the two of you, having somebody to support what you're chasing and what you love to do, that's definitely
Yeah, 100%.
huge.
It's really it's super important because I couldn't imagine somebody just constantly nagging, like, "Oh, you're gonna stream again?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, why can't you spend time with me, or why don't we do this and all this stuff?" And it's just like, it would be really challenging. But she understands that like this is one of my truest passions that I've wanted to do, and would love to make a full time job. But I'm sure I'm years away from doing that.
Well, you never
to-
know, though. I guess, like, who knows?
Who knows? I mean, yeah, you're right. I could all of a sudden blow up in the next year. I don't know. But definitely not going to lean on that. I'm still going to work my day job, and because it's also not just my wife and I's future; it's my kids' future.
Also true. Yes.
So having that is like I'm gonna be cautious.
Yeah, I guess she probably does. She stay home with the kids?
Yeah, she
Okay.
takes care of the wife, the kids, and I'm the sole source of income.
Right.
Yeah.
I see. And obviously it makes sense. You want to take care of your family. So
Right.
your 13-year-old, what do they think of what you do as a
Okay.
streamer, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, do they watch your content? What do they
She-
think?
She doesn't necessarily watch the content. I've talked to her about it a little bit, and she's that teenage girl where she's going through all sorts of emotions, and
Oh, yes, we
dad's
have
cool
one too.
1 second and dad's not cool the next second.
Yeah.
And I guess some of her friends may watch me, and some of her baseball or fast pitch teammates watch me, and she's just like, "Ugh, you're not cool unless like Ninja knows
Aw.
you. So it's just like, so she's
That's
at
what
that.
she's comparing you to.
Yeah,
is
she's
Ninja?
like, unless Ninja like knows, and I'm just like, girl, that dude's huge. Like, what are you talking about? Like, cut me some slack. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Working
trying my
on it.
best out here.
Yeah.
So she thinks it's cool, but she's also that like kind of embarrassed by it kind of thing. And I think that's kind of how it is for a lot of famous people with their kids. Like, it's just like, I'm
Possibly.
just, I'm just her dad, so it's just like, he just plays video games and talks to people online. Like, I don't get it,
I guess they're
know?
probably not fully in that space either to
Yeah,
understand.
like
but
does your teenager go like, yo, my mom's like really cool and like does all sorts of cool stuff and whatnot?
I think not really. I don't think so. She wants me to pick her up in school in my Volkswagen Beetle this
Sure.
week because
Yeah.
she's like, I want everybody to see me get picked up in this car.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of it, I think.
Right.
She's never actually. I don't think she's ever told me that she thinks I'm cool or not.
Right.
But I just act like I'm the cool mom.
Right? Yeah. I do the same thing. I do the same thing.
I am cool. Trust
Right.
me. Like,
Yeah, like,
there
people-
are lots of worse parents out there. I'm
Yeah.
the cool parent.
Yeah, 100%. I do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And so she's just like, we're just parents to them. Although we
Yeah.
do some cool stuff, but they're
Yeah.
at the core of it, they're just like, you're still my parent, and you still tell me that I have chores to
Yes.
do. So like, how cool
Yes.
can you really be?
Absolutely.
So yeah, she's cool with it for the most part, and I think she thinks it's cool. I think maybe when I start doing, or if I get to like a really really cool point where it's like it starts really benefiting her,
Then she'll like
then
really
she'll be like,
take notice.
this is really cool. Like, it's like, oh, well, guess what? The community paid for an all expense trip to like Disney World. Then
Ooh,
she'd be like,
yeah.
all right.
So happy. This is
that's
awesome.
really, yeah. Like, when
Yeah.
it starts benefiting her, then she's going to probably be
Mm.
like, yeah, that's super cool. But until then, she could honestly care less.
Do you think that your kids would ever want, like, have they ever expressed, like, oh, you've inspired me that I want to create YouTube videos or something like that? Have they ever mentioned
my
that to you?
10-year-old son he's a bit of a little gamer nerd.
Oh, okay.
Really into Pokemon and all that stuff. He
Cute.
really wants to play video games with me and do that kind of stuff. But I've been kind of holding off on it, and I know a lot of dads would be like, I'd love to play video games with my kids, but the COD community is very toxic, and I don't necessarily want to expose my kid to that just yet. And then I also know that like there's times where I spent an unhealthy amount of time playing video games. I'm not saying that video games are unhealthy, but there's
The
times where
amount
as
that
a
we
kid,
consume them can be, for
you know,
sure.
it can be.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to teach him right now to explore the world, touch grass, and do things that would truly benefit him growing up. as an adult and contribute to society. And I don't necessarily want him to get too wrapped up into video games just yet, because I just don't want him. I don't know. I just want to make sure that he doesn't get too wrapped up, because like I know some friends that like they literally stop showering and like just eat, fast food constantly, and it's just like, bro, you need to, and my son, I know if I let him play video games, he will play 24/7. 24/7.
Do you know what Gorilla Tag is?
I don't.
So our almost 10-year-old son is obsessed with Gorilla Tag, and the reason that I feel not so bad about how much he plays it sometimes is because he gets so much physical exercise out of it.
Yeah.
Basically, they're in this VR and they're pretending to be these monkeys. They've got no legs. It's just the little hand pieces, and you have to use your hands to get around. And they're literally playing tag and chasing each other, but instead of running, you're using your hands.
Right.
He'll be drenched in sweat, and I'm like, oh my gosh! Like, at least I could say you're exercising.
100%. Yeah, like if my son wanted to play some like Dance Revolution kind of thing, then by all means. But like with Call of Duty, I'm trying to wait. I let him play Fortnite on his Switch a little bit, and so I let him expose it a little bit. But I'm still, still his dad, and I still just don't want him to be too involved, because
I know what you're saying, because I think anything could become a problem if you let it consume you. Literally anything can. It's not just video games. It's if you let yourself get off the deep end of anything.
Yeah,
you know
100%.
what I mean? And it could be damaging to your hygiene or
whichever, or your
right?
mental psyche too. So
yes,
like,
that too.
And just being at a 10-year-old at that pivotal age of about to hit puberty and all that stuff, I don't want him to just sink into just video games and stuff like that. And then he's just some stinky 10-year-old, 12-year-old, and it's just like, nah, bro. Like, you gotta. I get it. You want to play video games, but you gotta chill. So, as much as I probably will eventually, but I do limit their video game time and all that stuff.
So let's lighten this a little bit. If you were a superhero, what superpower would you want, Panda?
Easy. Green Lantern.
What's
Green Lantern? You don't know. Don't tell me you don't know who Green Lantern is.
I know who he is, but like, what's his superpower? I don't even know.
You don't know his superpower?
No, I don't. What is it?
Oh my gosh, he has the ring, and he uses, and with his imagination, he can create anything with this ring. And so, like, if he wants to make a giant shield, he can make a giant shield, or a giant fist, or a hammer, or a sword, or anything like that. So, and the reason why is because you're only limited to your imagination, and your brain is the most powerful thing you have. So you could literally imagine anything, and then boom, you can make a bridge to get people across something.
I guess I never thought about it that way, because I think in the past the biggest answer was always like teleporting or something, because
fair.
You know what I mean, you're just there somewhere by like the snap of your fingers. But I also like your idea with the ring. But this is totally another like tangent, but you ever read about like the law of attraction? Because I would like to throw in a spin there that basically your mind can already do these things, just not with a ring and not like by the snap of your fingers. But I'm a believer in what you think you receive, basically.
Are you saying like we can like actually move things with our mind, or
no,
are you saying
that's telepathy, right? That's a little different.
I think,
What I'm saying is you basically attract the same frequency of what you put out. So
yes,
you know
yes, 100%.
So that's what I'm saying. So basically, you were saying he's got this ring, and all he's got to do is imagine it, and he can have it. I'm saying that technically, anything you really imagine in this life, you can manifest for yourself in some way.
You can, yes.
That was my little twist on like, basically we sort of already have that. It just takes a long time sometimes.
And that would maybe make sense why I like him as a superhero, and his superpower is that with manifestation is a very strong thing. When you really want something and you work for it, you get it. And I mean, prime examples of you and I, of the things that we've done, and yet we're not done, doing the things. We have a lot of things that we want to accomplish and do,
Yes.
and we're just gonna keep going at it and keep grinding, keep innovating, and
Hmm.
keep trying new things. And who knows what we'll be 5 years from now? But
So let's talk about that maybe. Like, do you have goals set for yourself? Do you see yourself somewhere specific or general, or what do you have in plan?
so
What do you have planned for
I guess
yourself?
in general, what I'd like to be, which is kind of like very generic answer, would be to be a full-time content creator,
Mm,
being able to provide for my family, um,
absolutely.
and really make content. I guess if I got more specific to it, would be to be able to make the YouTube videos that I'd like to make. I'd probably have a separate channel that is, here's my gaming stuff, but here's my more artistic,
Mm.
creative bit stuff, my short film stuff. Um, so that would be really cool if I could get to that point. I guess 5 years from now, it would be cool if I was a full-time content creator making YouTube videos, doing bits. Maybe I'm still doing the Asian bit stuff. But at some point, I know where I want to go. The rice hat will come off, and
Oh,
there will be a. You finally get to see if PandaSkills has hair or not.
so
Uh,
nobody knows?
Nobody knows. My very first stream, I was wearing a hat. I was wearing a beanie actually, and
Okay.
then my second stream, we were making Asian jokes with my military buddies because I was playing with them, and I was like, "Oh, I have a rice hat. Let me put it on." And then ever since then, I've been wearing the rice hat for the
That's
past
amazing.
two
It
and a
just
half
like
years.
started just
It literally just started as a joke, and I was like, "Oh, look, it'd be funny if I wore my rice hat." And literally ever since then, this has been on my head, and nobody's seen the top of my. Nobody knows if I have hair or not, and it's kind of a running joke. Everybody calls me bald, but I 100% have hair,
okay, but just nobody believes you
but
right now
nobody
because
believes me
okay,
because I
I
wear
got
the
that.
hat constantly. So yeah, it's. I don't know where I'll be. It's everything is always unknown. Um,
Of course.
but I know that I want to be creating content. I know that for a fact. I know that I want to still make people happy, and I know that I still want to, if I can, financially support the ones that truly need it and
Of
deserve
course.
it. I know that's where I want to be 5 years from now. If it's still making content, I don't know. As long as I'm making people happy and laugh, and I can help people financially, because I know it's hard out there in this world.
Mm,
I've seen a lot of bad things, and my time in the military, and I've seen a lot of dark things, and so we need as much light in the world as possible to provide fun, entertaining content, um, to make people not necessarily create a safe place, but just a getaway, a little
mm,
vacation from their mind. I know I want to be doing that. And so that's always going to be my goal till the day I die.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Especially if you're like you were talking about earlier, basically your content will evolve. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's great. You'll still be doing.
Yeah. No matter what, that's what I plan to do, whether I'm still making content or not, is just to bring joy and help other people.
Hmm.
It's just there's so much bad stuff in the world, and we as human beings just need to help people.
Absolutely. It's literally so free to just be kind to people. You know what I mean?
It's
Like
free.
it's
It's just
crazy to me that
so easy.
people wake up and choose like to be mean and I'm like, "Why?" It's such a waste of energy and I don't understand why people
and
do it.
and and
So,
it's probably because they have something bad going on in their world.
maybe,
And
maybe.
and usually I like to double down on the kindness for the most part, because there are some really bad people in the world, and I've seen
Yes.
some really evil people that truly want to cause evil and harm to people. Seen it with my own eyes. But for the most part, here in America, or in the United States and Canada and etc., people are generally good people. They're not born to hate people. Like,
Mm.
this, on rare occasions do we find people that just create evil, vile things. It's because of outside factors, the way they were raised, things that affected them when they were raised, or something's going on in their life that they just can't. They don't know how to control their emotions, or they don't know how to control their thoughts. And so sometimes people just really need to be hugged and held, to be hugged. Like just force it upon them. They just need to be forced love. And I've had a few people on my stream come in just trolling, just being just mean. And then now they've been longtime followers and supporters because, I just double down. It's just some in their day just was just not going well for them. Caught them at a wrong time.
You have way more patience than I do because most times I'm like, sometimes if it's just something like witty and kind of funny, but if it's them being like rude and like
there's certain things that I like,
in the comments and stuff, you know what I mean? Like those guys are just like
100%. Like if you're racist or homophobic, you're out.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But I've had people come in that were kind of racist to me. As long as it's to me, I'm okay. But you cannot be racist or homophobic to my community or other people because I've been in the military and just in life and in general, I've been trained, and my personality is to protect the lesser and that need to be protection. I will die for somebody because that's what I was trained to do. That's what I signed up to do. So you will not attack friends and family and innocent people. You can attack me all you want. You can say all the mean things you want. Doesn't bother me. I'll double down with kindness. But as soon as you attack a friend or acquaintance or just anybody innocent, then I go all of a sudden I see red because it's fight or flight. And now you're trying to hurt an innocent person. Oh, not today. Not on my watch. But yeah, I've had people come in and say all sorts of racist things to me because I'm wearing a rice hat and I'm doing Asian accent stuff and I double down on it. And it's just like, what's going on, man? Like you're not like this. Because, somebody in your world does love you. So somewhere you're just choosing to choose violence, and we need to figure that out. And should I waste my time on these people? Maybe not. And then on occasion, I just say, get out of here. But sometimes there's people that they just need to be hugged and loved because nobody hugged and loved them. And so I get that.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So it's just, we just gotta need to put more positive stuff out there. And hopefully, change the world. You never know. I don't know. No.
It's always nice to see people that their focus is on kindness, and I really love that about you, Panda. You seem so genuine, and I feel like the people that find you, they enjoy you because of how genuine you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is definitely a very desirable quality, and you naturally have it. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. I try to, and it is probably because of my time in the military that like really just kind of opened my eyes to that, like, life's too short. We do not get an unlimited amount of time.
Yes.
So
this is true.
We can't spend that time hating each other and fighting each other because, one day you're here and the next day you're not. So do you want to spend your days, fighting people and just being angry? Or do you want to be happy and chase the dreams that you want and be successful and, make other people, like, it's just, we don't have a lot of time here on this planet. So
absolutely
do the best that you can.
Short, like literally, it is
It
so
literally is
short. You know what I mean? We watched the other night. We watched a movie. Actually, Ballard, a friend of ours, had recommended called Idiocracy. Have you ever
I've
seen
that?
it?
100% have seen it. Yeah.
Oh my god! So it's just kind of funny because basically 500 years down the road, everybody's like stupid and mean and like masturbating everywhere. Like everything has got XXX on it, and it's like. I would love to see a world where like we're genuinely focusing on the positive energy instead of the negative energy, not in a superficial sort of way, like, oh, you had a shit day, just be happy. Not that. But like when we are spreading love, we're also like you build good energy in yourself when you spread it. And when you spread hate, you're basically like poisoning yourself. Anytime you like hold on to hate or spread that negative energy, in my mind, that's what I feel like. Because I always feel like shit when I like experience these feelings. I all the time see stuff on the internet, and it's so easy to get like hooked into these. Sometimes it's very far-fetched arguments one way or the other, and sometimes you can't change these people, and it's literally a waste of energy I could be spending somewhere positive. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
No,
Because
I completely
anytime,
agree.
yeah, when we're spreading this positive energy, we're building something towards good things. And
Yeah.
that's, you know,
100%. Yeah. And like I said, it kind of goes back to what we were talking again is that, you know, I don't necessarily waste my time with certain people because like some people you just can't change them.
yeah,
You
yeah.
they're just already stuck in their ways. But if I can change somebody's attitude, if I can change somebody's bad day to a good one, then I'm gonna do my damnedest to do it. Uh, because it's the right thing to do. You know, I don't want people to just live life in hate and misery. That's you
I
know
see. The thing is I'm on the exact same page as you, but there are people who exist that are just generally miserable fucks. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
agreed.
and they don't want to change. So, but it's just, I'm with you. Like, I don't get why people are miserable sometimes towards each other, like purposely. I'm like,
Yeah,
why? So,
who knows? And
yeah,
again, it's just there's so many different factors and variables to it that is just
yeah.
like you know. And I guess you're just gonna live a shitty, miserable life, and that's
So,
fine. That's yours.
let's talk about something a lot more fun to think about, I suppose. So let's imagine that you don't have to worry about the financial sides of anything.
Mm,
You're taking your family on a vacation because you've been working so hard and everything is like so
mm.
exploded. And where are you taking them? Where's your ideal vacation?
So I know what my family would want, and I know what I would
Oh,
want.
okay. Tell me both.
So my family would more than likely would love to go to Disney World and experience all the joys of that. We're a very big Disney family and whatnot, so that for sure. But me, because I was in the military, I suffer from PTSD, anxiety, and depression. So
Okay.
I don't like large crowds. I don't like busyness things. And because I was in the military, anytime I'm out in public, my kids and my wife are like people that I need to protect at all times. So my mind is constantly just watching
Mm.
for, I'm just super hyper vigilant. And so when I go into these very crowded areas, my mind just gets exhausted, just constantly like, who's a threat? Who's not a threat? You know,
Yes.
is this person okay? Can I see this person? Is somebody, because there's bad people in the world that'll just snatch up my kids or do something bad. And I don't want to expose that to my kids. So
Yes. Yeah.
for me, it would be a low key place. We went to this, there's this place where we live. It's like a beach town right on the coast.
Okay.
And it's kind of touristy. It doesn't get really too crazy. It's very low key. We went there a few years back and we had an absolute blast.
Hmm.
We stayed in a decent sized hotel, went to the beach. Granted, our beaches here aren't like California beaches, but you know, we did that. We played board games, we played video games at the arcade, we did bumper cars. And just
That sounds
seeing
so
their
fun.
joy and laughter, like it's just such a great time. It was one of our
Mm.
best family vacations we ever did. And it was only for like a day or two. So that's what I would want to do. They would 100% want to go to like Disney World and do
Of
all the fun
course.
rides and see all the cool stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would be okay with it. I also don't like flying very often anymore,
Oh, okay.
because of my time in the military. I don't like being trapped on a plane, and if there was a threat arise, then it's like now I gotta fight somebody, and I don't want to have to
I
fight
gotta
somebody.
fight somebody.
Um,
Oh,
yeah, it's
like,
just yeah, like if there was a very bad person on the plane that wanted to do bad things, I don't I don't think I can not do something. My body and my mind have always, when there is chaos and bad people, my body and mind just goes to stop the threat. And it's just something that's just been instilled to me, especially with my time in the military. I mean, I run towards gunfire. I've done it in the civilian world when I got out. Uh, that's kind of a crazy story. I don't know if you want to hear it, but
yeah, sure. Tell me.
so we lived in this really shady part of town where we lived. Really crappy apartments. It was a two-story apartment. So first floor, second floor, and in the patio, there's no railings or anything. It's literally you walk out your patio, and then there's concrete slab, and then we can just along the whole line we can see everybody else's patio.
Oh,
Our neighbor was a Craigslist solicitor of extracurricular activities for adults.
Okay,
So
I'm picking up what you're putting down here.
yeah, so she did that a lot because there's always random people coming over. One day I was out front, hanging out with my friend, smoking cigarettes, my army buddy, and we see this black car roll up, tinted windows, pull up to the side, and the guy gets out and he's wearing all leather, all black, looks like some if I were to racially profile him, I'm pretty sure he was Hispanic of some sort. And he walked to the back part of the apartment because we were at the very end of the apartment. So the very end is our neighbors, and then we were next to hers. And so a lot of times I always see people walk to the back of the door because that's where they go to enter the room. So he was walking to the back, and I'm like, okay, whatever, just looks like somebody's collecting their money from so and so, our neighbor. That's what I assumed. I don't know. And then all of a sudden I see this like white Jeep Cherokee pull up with two white guys. And then they go to the back, same area. And I was like, oh, maybe it's a 3-for-1 special. I was thinking maybe it's a 3-for-1 special. And then I all of a sudden start hearing arguing and yelling and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And then I just hear a pop, pop. And we were just like, oh shit, what's going on? So we start running towards there. I see the guy come.
We? You and your...
Me and my buddy.
Okay.
Me and my army buddy. So we start running towards there, towards the back. We see the guy in all black leather come out, and he's like touching his body, looking if he's got shot. And we're like, hey, what's going on? He didn't say anything, and he just kind of rushed to his car and then drove off. And then all of a sudden we see the two white guys just bolting to their car. They jump the curb and like start chasing after the dude.
What?
And so I was just like, whoa. But in that moment, I ran towards them.
That's crazy.
Like, I ran towards the gunfire. Instead of taking cover, I just ran to them. But I didn't have anything to defend myself with. So I was like bringing fists to a gunfight.
Oh, Jesus.
But like, it was just, my brain was just like, oh, things are happening. Let me go eliminate the threat. So it's just in my brain. That's just how it is.
Was this before you were married with children?
This was, my wife was pregnant at the time.
Oh, okay.
So we were married, but she was pregnant because she was inside and she heard the commotion. She went to the back door trying to see what it was. And all of a sudden 2 gunshots go off. Luckily, we didn't see any bullet holes, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
We called the cops. They could give 2 shits. And they're like, oh, let's see the footage. We watch the footage, and then we see him pull up, and then the 2 white guys, and then they start running off, and they see us running in, and camera scene, and then like that's it. I was just like, all right.
That's crazy.
But I mean, it was a shady part of town, so they didn't care.
Yeah, that's
They didn't care,
definitely
so.
unfortunate. I feel like, because the conversation about like being on a plane and protecting your family, I feel like as a parent, that is instinctual because
Right,
like
yeah.
I'm my reasons for not liking crowds are not exactly the same as yours, but definitely I feel the drainage of my energy being in a crowd, not just because of the crowd, but I'm also like constantly keeping the kids and like trying to keep them in my peripherals and make sure everything's okay. And you're always looking out for that one weirdo that might be around the corner. So like that's actually a thing. And I feel like people don't talk about it a whole lot, but
yeah, and it's exhausting, after a whole day of doing that and then also trying to make sure your kids are having fun and enjoying themselves. And you're just like, I am drained. I'm done. So I just don't like large crowds anymore. But surprisingly, I can go to the casino with my wife.
Maybe it's because they like pump all that oxygen in there.
I think they pump all the oxygen, and it's just the Asian in me just loves to gamble. I do the gamble all the time. I just put the button and put the money on the table. It's just something about it. I just love gambling, and I think it's an Asian thing. I don't know.
So what's your favorite? Like, do you have a favorite slot machine or card game or something?
So slot machines, I play any of them. But table games, I love roulette because it's all luck. There's no like skill to it. It's just luck. Sure, you can kind of guess close, but it's all random. And so I love roulette, and I'm just wanna. And I feel like down the road, I'm just gonna be one of those old Asian guys that go to the casino that you see that are just like, just they're just gambling away. I've played too, I've spent too much money at the casino, but I love
I
it.
I personally love card games. For a while I was really into Texas Hold'em because there's something about being able to play a hand
Hmm.
depending on like how other people are playing and kind of what you want people to think you have and things
Hmm.
like that. Like I find some joy in that. Even though my poker face is probably fucking awful because I
Sure.
wear my emotions on my sleeve all the time.
Right.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've tried it. I always worry that I may mess something up or something like that, and I don't like because you're kind of almost messing with other people's money because they might have won if
mm, I
or we could have
guess.
all won. Like especially blackjack. Like I don't really play that often because like I might have pulled a card when I shouldn't have. Because they're like, when you're like sitting that close to like 20, you shouldn't pull a card, but I did anyways. And I might have won it anyways, but then screwed over the next guy or allowed
Mm.
the dealer to get the next card, which then allowed them to win. And then it's like, oh, now we all lost money. So yeah, I don't necessarily play card games that I don't like affecting with people's money or their livelihood.
I
So
see.
roulette's fine. I'll just put my money in. If it is, it is. If not, it's
I can
whatever.
respect that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think let's open chat. If anybody has any questions that they would like to ask Panda, we can put those in the chat. Um, let's also talk about I'm gonna pick a question here
Okay,
that is a little
sure.
bit more lighthearted, I suppose. Do you have any weird talents or like quirks that people or chat or your audience, us, what do we not know about you, Panda? That's like, do you have
Weird
some?
talents or quirks. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
very talented. I am creative,
Mm.
but not talented in the aspect that I could go on like a talent show and be like, this is what I do.
Mm.
So I don't necessarily have any of those quirks. I scratch the back of my head when I'm frustrated.
Really? Okay.
That's a when my wife and daughter see me like start scratching the back of my head,
They know you're
they
frustrated.
know I'm like getting annoyed and frustrated.
Mm.
So that's a random quirk of mine. So yeah, that's mm,
Okay.
that.
Darcel said you are talented. You're talented at expressing. And I feel like there's value in that too, because some people are literally expressionless. So
True.
talent may not be the word, but having the ability to be expressive is definitely a characteristic. So
Yeah,
that
absolutely. I
counts.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Darcel said, what's your favorite color?
Favorite color is gray, even though it's not necessarily a
Oh,
color
mm,
because it's a shade. And I've
true.
argued with my wife that I still think it's a color, but gray is as I'm wearing gray now. I love the color gray. Gray on anything, on anybody, it will always it's just a gray color to me
Really?
or shade to
Okay.
me. Because it's I don't know, it seems calming to me, but expressive.
It's okay, so it's funny you say that because also Darcel in the comments just wrote what undertone. I was gonna mention that. Gray is actually a color that can hold every color within it, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Except for white, I suppose.
Sure.
But you can have like a pink shade of gray, you could have a green shade of gray, purple, blue, all of it. You know what I mean? So does it have to be a distinct shade of gray for you? Like a solid
Mm, I'm
pure
I'm a
gray?
big fan of dark gray, like a heath gray. I think I don't know if that's
Mm,
the color
I think I know what
that
you're talking
you know what
about.
I mean. But like basically like this color of gray, but even light gray. I also thoroughly enjoy,
Hmm.
especially when my wife wears light gray. Is she has a shirt. She has a gray shirt that's long sleeve that I love that she wears. It's not like there's a lot of
Aw.
cleavage or anything. It's just I love gray. And when she wears it, it I like it. It just makes her just pop that
Aw.
much more to me. I don't know. Just gray is a great color to me, and I get I yeah. It's like expressive but not expressive. It's there but not there, which I guess is kind of my personality where I am expressive, but I'm also sometimes can be in the shadows and like you don't even know I'm there. You
You're
know, I can
sneaky.
be, yeah, I could be the most vibrant person in the room, or you didn't even know I was there, and I've been there for like 7 hours, kind of thing. So it
Okay.
just depends on the mood that I'm in. So yeah, gray is just a very fun color for me.
Okay. I like that. B Horse wants to know what's your favorite type of bug?
Favorite type of bug? What a good
Yeah. That is
question.
a good question. I
That
feel
is a
like
good question.
this question is a good way to know like something about somebody because there's so many different bugs and like
I
I
mean,
and
yeah,
why is it your favorite bug? Whatever you choose, I also need to know why.
I mean, there's bugs that I see that I think are pretty, but not necessarily my favorite.
Okay.
Now, if I'm trying to get deep with it, I don't know which bug would be my favorite. What bug I do enjoy because I played with them a lot as a kid are the roly polioles. You know what I'm talking about?
I was just thinking about those the other day. We used to call them carpenter or like miller bugs or something, I
Oh,
think, where
really?
they like
Yeah.
they roll up
They
into
roll
a
up into
little
little
ball,
ball. Yeah,
like
yeah,
little
yeah.
armadillos basically.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Those bugs I think are the coolest because they're just
Just thinking about
they're
those the other
fun
day.
to play with. They roll up in a little ball, and but they're so like innocent, and then they just live their life. But then they have this hard outer shell to protect them. But I feel like they're just normal, sweet little bugs, kind
So,
of like me, I guess.
aw, you just feel so like relatable
Yeah,
to them. I swear I haven't seen one of those bugs
I haven't seen them
since.
forever.
No, like, do they still exist?
They have to. I think they do.
S-
But I don't know. I haven't seen one in a while because like I used to find them in my backyard all the time.
Yeah, I remember being in school, like elementary school, and probably I don't even know if I seen it in high school now that I think about it, but like it's been a long time since I
It's
seen
been a
it.
very long time since
Yeah.
I've seen a roly polioli, which
Bally
I don't
says he
know. Yeah.
sees them all the time. He calls them potato bugs.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Because they go on
Very
potatoes?
interesting.
I don't even know what they. Like, I don't know anything about them other than they're fun to play with.
That's funny. I think growing up, playing with bugs was probably one of the funnest things. I think you're my age, right? You're in your 30s?
Yeah, yeah, I'm mid 30s.
Okay, same. Like the other day, or it was today or something, we were talking about old cell phones, and Kyle showed me a picture of his old cell phone, and he's like, "Oh, this is like one of the phones I had in elementary school. It flipped this way, and then it flipped that way," and he showed me a picture, and you could
Oh,
text, and it
wow.
had a keyboard. I was like,
Yeah.
my very first cell phone didn't even have a color screen. It was
Yeah.
like one of those, like, they look like a cheap ass screen, and you had to use the numbers to
T9.
text. Yes,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was like, none of my friends even had a phone. I had a phone and I could only text my mom and dad. Like, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
I had an old school Nokia little brick phone.
That's
It was
what
this
Darcel said too.
little red Nokia brick phone
Mm-hmm.
that had Snake on it, and then of course you had to use T9. We had to push 11111, and then 3333, and then 22, and then
Yep.
55, and 6666666. Just the text. But I didn't get that until like late high school. But a lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
had the sidekicks and then the Razor phones. Those were really popular way back when I was in high school. But yeah, I just had the little Nokia phone that you had to pay money to put minutes on and
Oh,
texting
okay.
on. There was no unlimited anything. There was you pay like $20 and he gets you
I
like
think
50 minutes.
back in the day, the plan that we had here in Canada was like 6 p.m. to midnight, and then weekends were unlimited.
Right? Yeah,
I
yeah.
think like across Canada, maybe was it? I don't even think it was across Canada at the time, but it was like evenings and weekends
Sure.
basically. You had unlimited minutes, and then during the day you had like a certain amount.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but
Yeah, my mom she didn't care to get me a phone. I mean, we also didn't really have the money for it.
fair.
Um,
That's like
but yeah,
my
that
parents
was
wouldn't get me
the
one until
old
I had a
school
job.
little brick Nokia phone. Those things lasted forever, man. The battery life on those things, amazing. However, I mean, it's not like you were running Facebook and Twitter and
They
all that other
weren't little
stuff.
computers
Yeah,
like
you
we
know.
have now, you know what I mean? Which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because now um being a kid in high school, if somebody came up to you and said, "One of these days you're going to have a phone and you're going to be able to make money with it on the internet." You'd be
Wild.
like, "What?" Like,
Also,
"Excuse
what's the
me?"
internet?
Well, we
You know.
had the internet, I think, but it wasn't what it is now. Like, I don't even think Facebook didn't exist when I was in high school.
Yeah, I
Um,
think. Yeah, I don't. I think maybe Facebook came out when I was just graduating or after I graduated. I don't know when Facebook came
mm,
out, but yeah, I mean, it was MySpace. MySpace was
oh,
the
okay.
top eight, and then all the coding and the music playing and all that stuff. That was my thing. And then the Wild West of the AOL Instant Messenger chat rooms. That was a wild place to be in. That was a
I
very
had
dangerous place.
ICQ. That's what I had. And actually, probably as a young teen, I probably was on something like Omegle and shouldn't have been,
Full
basically.
facts, same
But
here.
but that's
Is
because the internet was so different back then, and there was like no such thing as like internet safety,
hmm
or because
Yeah.
adults didn't even know what the fuck the internet was. You know what I'm saying? And
Right. Yeah.
now
Yeah.
growing up, we went through that like that trial and error time of being like, okay, these kids probably shouldn't be on these things, and there are predators on the internet and
Yeah.
shit like
Hundred
that,
percent. It is
But
wild.
now we know different, of course, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of chats where I was just like, yo, I'm just kind of like talking about all my personal life stories and stuff like that, just telling them everything. The whole, I don't know, did in Canada do they do the whole ASL thing? You know what
Yes, yeah, we
ASL, the
had
age, sex, location thing?
yeah,
Oh my god! I think we should be putting all sorts of personal information out there. Just come on over. Here's my address. You know what I
basically
mean?
yes. Yep.
It's so dangerous.
Oh fuck. Ballard asked, "Do you like living in Washington?"
I do. I do. It's a very beautiful state.
Mm,
I like the woods and all that stuff. So I grew up in South Texas.
okay.
Born in California. And I was a fun fact. I guess a fun tidbit about me. I am the first American born in my family.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I'm the first person in my family that could become a U.S. president. Not that it ever
Ooh,
would be, but
you could though.
I could if I wanted
Mm.
to. Everybody above me are all immigrants from the respective Asian countries that they came from, which I'm Vietnamese, Filipino, and Chinese, if anybody was curious. Um, so I grew up in South Texas, and it was really hot and just hot and very hot there, and flat. So coming up here, I got stationed up here when I was in the military.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and it's a beautiful state. Just the evergreen trees. When it rains, it's really bad, but when it's sunny, it's just an amazing state to see visually. Politics
Okay.
and all that stuff is kind of another story, which I'm not going to get into. But just the environment of the state is really great. Being able to go outdoors and uh, go hiking and camping and all that stuff is really great. So yeah, I do enjoy. I tried to move back to Texas, but there wasn't a lot of jobs unless I wanted to work in the oil fields, and I'm a very small man, so like I don't couldn't be an oil worker unless it was putting me behind a computer, you know.
Mm.
So I very much do enjoy living in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay. Darcel asked if you've ever visited the Northeast coast.
I have been to where the White House is. That's as far east I've ever been,
Okay.
which I think is like Virginia esque. I've never been to New York, which is like northeast area. And I mean I've been to what is it, South Carolina, which I
Mhm.
know some of these might be like way above your head just because you're Canadian or not,
Honestly,
you know.
yeah, I visually just know it's below Canada. That's all I'm
Yeah,
picturing in my head.
yeah.
Like, is it a
So
little more east or a little more west? That's how
right,
I'm
yeah. So
right now.
I've never really been much on the East Coast. I've always been a West Coast kind of person.
Okay.
So California area and Texas, which is basically central south. So yeah, I've never been there. Would I like to go there? To be honest, not really. But I also don't
No?
really care to leave my house either, too. So that's nothing against the Northeast. It's just I
That's
also just
okay.
don't like to leave my house.
That's fair, though. That's definitely
Yeah,
fair. I feel like I'm either traveling or I'm in my house, and I very much am like a little just house gremlin
yeah,
because when I'm home, sometimes we do social things or go for like rides in the car to a store or something,
yeah.
but I'm in my house.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of the
mean,
time too.
and then
So
with
I get
today's
that.
day and age, we really don't have to leave our house ever. We can have
True.
groceries brought to us. We could
Yes. Oh,
have
that's my new
food brought
favorite
to us.
thing. I order
It's
groceries all the time on the
Yeah,
app.
I mean, like it's literally could just other than needing medical assistance, we really don't need to leave our house for anything
Have
unless
you
you
been
have a.
to?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask if you've been to Canada.
One time, I went to Canada one time,
Hmm.
and it's whatever's above Seattle, the town that's above, I think British Columbia
Oh, maybe on the west
or
side there.
Vancouver.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, on the
Probably.
very, very far west side. Went there, and that was kind of a culture shock.
Oh.
It was kind of a culture shock because as soon as we got across the border, I saw like 7 synagogues on this one street. The Jewish churches.
Oh.
Is
Okay.
that what they're called? Did I just say that wrong?
Maybe.
Did I just get
I
canceled?
have no idea. I honestly don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know if I got canceled. Maybe.
So you're
Uh,
saying it's basically like churches, like
it was
places
just
of
a bunch
worship?
of a bunch of Jewish people. Like I've never like I know a few Jewish people, but like I grew up in South Texas, so like there wasn't a lot of Jewish people there. There was just like
Mm,
a lot of Mexicans, whites, a few blacks, and that's about it. But
okay.
like not a lot of Jewish people, and it was just like, oh my gosh, there's so many Jewish people here. This
I
is
so
crazy.
I do find I haven't been to that many places in the States, but I do know that like even where I live in a small northern town. There's about like 80,000-ish people here, and they've got like lots of things for there's like places for Muslims, there's places for
Yeah,
Jewish people, like there's definitely lots of places of worship here. So I don't know if that's a cultural difference from Canada to the States, but maybe it just depends on the area
yeah,
then. I
yeah.
don't
It,
know.
it must be on the area. I don't know. I know everywhere I've been, usually it's just like the guess like Christianity and
Mm.
baptism. Like those are the or Baptist churches I've seen. But like I don't ever recall ever seeing
Oh,
a
really?
Jewish synagogue here in the U.S. It
Okay.
probably exists, but I've never came across any.
Mm-hmm.
It's like yeah, so it was just like a culture shock. It was really cool. Saw a lot of. We went to like some downtown place. Again, I don't remember the town, and it was
Mm.
only for like a
Mm-hmm.
day. Would I like to go back to Canada? I would. I have a few friends that I've met through streaming. That I would love to go see and meet. But again, I don't like traveling.
Mm.
I'm trying to get back to it. It's been a long time since I spent like 10 years not flying on a plane and just not going anywhere.
But
Just
it's
because of my
understandable.
PTSD.
You said
Yeah.
it's PTSD, right,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
your
So
time in the military. That
yeah,
nobody
so
can
I just
be
recently
upset you
like
for
going
that.
to Loot Fest was the first time I've been on a plane in a very
Really?
long time. And so it took a lot of mental preparation to do that because like I was just like my anxiety was just like through the roof. And I'm slowly trying to get out of that rut of just letting anxiety take over my life
Mm.
and letting my PTSD take over my life and just going, you know what? F it. If I die, I die. And just doing things. Because again, life is short. We don't have a lot of it. We never know. And I would hate to live life going, okay, and die. And then, whether I'm a ghost or I go to heaven or I turn into a ficus, who knows? But I don't want to look back and go, man, I really should have went on that vacation with my family because I was too scared to, or my anxiety was too much, or I really shouldn't have, done that. And when we went to Loot Fest, it was one of the most greatest experiences that I did as a content
Aw.
creator because it was like if I didn't go, I wouldn't have made the memories and the connections. Like I would have never met you.
This is true. This is
You know what
true.
I
We
mean?
would not have met.
We would
Yeah.
have never met if
Yep.
I did not go to Loot Fest.
This is true.
So like
I'm
because
glad
of
you
those
went.
I'm so glad that I went too. And I'm so
Hmm.
because like at first I didn't know who you were, and I was
I don't think anybody knew who I was. I showed up only knowing Linksy, basically.
right.
So
Yeah,
I was like,
and
"Hi, everybody."
yeah, I'm here, and so like I didn't know who you were, and then I was kind of intimidated to go talk to you, but I
Oh
also well it's because like I was a small streamer, right?
no.
Then I was only at 8,000 followers, and averaging like 5 CCV, right? So to me at that time, I was a very small streamer. Um, and so like, it was just like, you don't know who was who. And I don't know if I was talking to a big streamer. All I knew is I love the fact that you were cosplaying, and I also love the fact that you did a cross cosplay of characters,
Oh,
like the
thank
the
you.
creativitiness of that. And I was like, that's a person I want to get to know, because
Aw,
that's a
thank
person
you.
that knows content and is creative and has the same mindset that I have with creativity. So
Well,
I was
thank
like, I
you.
need to introduce myself to you.
And I'm
And that's what I
so
did.
glad you did. One thing I do want to point out though is how you're saying like you're intimidated, and I totally get it. Because if I saw someone like, I would probably be intimidated by someone like Dakota's. Would I be intimidated by Ninja? Maybe not, because I
Hmm.
feel like I like Ninja, but
Right.
I really enjoy watching Dakota's, and there's like I do feel like sometimes when you have a connection, there might be a little bit of a thing, but for the most part, I feel like we're all just humans. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and I think about when I talk to anybody, no matter who they are, um, small or big or whatever, is like we're literally all just humans. You know what I'm
Right. Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah.
yeah, I'm really glad that you did decide to talk to me. Like I must not have had like a resting bitch face or something. I was probably smiling the whole
No,
time, I
no, you
swear.
were, and even if you did, I still knew I
Oh,
knew
thank
I
you.
needed to introduce myself to you, just because like
Hmm.
you were cosplaying, like that's so cool.
Oh, thank you.
It would be something that I would do, and we talked about it a little bit of just, I don't know if I have that ability to, and I know I probably do with a little bit of time and work and all that stuff.
Yes.
But like your level of your painting ability and just your
Oh, thank
creativity is
you.
cosplay, like, oh my gosh, it's like absolutely phenomenal.
Thank
Uh,
you. I
so to
appreciate that.
so like, yeah, I was just like, I had to introduce myself to you just because it was just cool seeing you do your thing and just be you. And I
Thank
was just
you.
like,
I think I was the only
yeah,
one in cosplay that
you were.
whole weekend actually.
You
So it was
100% were
it was
the only one.
it's I love traveling to conventions. Number 1 to cosplay, and then number 2, I really enjoy seeing all the little booths, and
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
I look for like Dragon Ball and Naruto stuff
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever, but do you
Yeah,
think you're
so
going to go to TwitchCon actually?
I probably won't. And
Okay.
here's my opinion as into why I probably won't.
Mhm.
Is because I'm very big on anything I do, there needs to be some form of ROI, return
Of
on
course.
investment, right?
Yeah.
So me going to TwitchCon, although I may meet some people, make some connections and all that stuff, I don't see the true value of
Mm.
getting my investment back of spending that time and money, because not only am I spending the money, I'm spending the time away from my family, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely.
So because this isn't my full-time job, I'm just like, maybe not yet. But I also, not that that it kind of matters, but I would want, if I'm going somewhere, I would want to make sure that people knew me if I was
Mm.
going, so that I could make those connections and also meet fans and whatnot. Because I don't want it to be just me getting gain of that. That return on investment doesn't just mean, oh, I met a big streamer and like now I can collab with them, or oh, I met a sponsor that I could work with.
Mm.
The return on investment of reinstilling that connection with your community, making it that much stronger, so that they're like, I got to meet Panda IRL, I got to have lunch with him,
Ah.
I got
Yeah.
to hang out with him, or I got to meet with my mods and hang out with them, or I got to meet them and just connect with them, and so that it just builds that friendship even more. And so going to TwitchCon, I don't think I will know anybody except for a few select people, and
Mm.
nobody will know me. They'd be like, "Oh, you're the rice hat guy. I've seen you on TikTok," but I don't think I'm quite there yet
Mm. So,
to go.
have you been to TwitchCon before? Excuse
The
me.
only kind of convention thing I went to was Loot Fest, and that was my very first
Mm.
one. Because again, I still consider myself a small streamer, and I get it. Some people, they want to go and they want to meet like the big streamers of Twitch and stuff like that, or other content creators that they follow and all this stuff. To me, as much as I would love to meet my friends and all that stuff, again, it's just that return on investment. I have to be very strategic
Mm.
at the things that I do and how I do them, because not only am I, again, taking time away from my family, I'm taking time from my wife, and then the
Yes.
financial aspect of it. So just it's just everything has to be strategic with
It's
it.
balance, right? You're basically
Yeah,
looking for a balance that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then also it's like with Loot Fest, I knew a lot of people for the most part would know me there because it was a lot of Facebook creators. So I knew that
Oh, yes.
strategically it would be good for me because I'm a Facebook main,
Yes.
while Twitch, there's thousands of people and there's thousands of people that don't know who I am. So it's just like, why is this Asian dude walking around in a rice hat? You know what I mean? And he's like half cosplay, half not. Who's he supposed to be? Like, is this guy just being Raiden, but like not really being Raiden?
Mm.
So that's why I haven't gone.
That's
Maybe,
fair.
if I get big enough, like I would go and they'd be like, "Oh, you got to be PandaSkills," like or whatever. Then that would strategically make more sense for me to do it,
I see, yeah.
as a business investment, as a growth investment, and as a connection investment. Um, that's why I pick and choose the things that I do because I'm truly trying to be one of the biggest creators out there. That
Mm.
maybe one day that it's like, oh, I remember watching this guy in AlienTrashKitty's podcast, and look at them now, or I remember way back then, or this and that. It's just I have to think like a big creator, but I have to make the right decisions and choices because I'm a small creator. I can't just go
Yes.
somewhere and then it's gonna work for me because again, I don't want to go there and be like, oh yeah, I met some awesome people and made some great connections, but I also spent 2 grand expenses over everything and I didn't get anything out of it,
Mm.
right? To head better my career as a content creator, you know. So that's my reasons of why I'm not going to TwitchCon. Maybe next year
Hmm,
I
okay.
might go. Who knows? I don't know.
It's definitely like for us our take is a little different just because we have our kids week on and week off because they go to their dads every other week. And generally if we're doing something like that, I can make arrangements or we
Right.
go on a week when they're not home type thing. Now we went to TwitchCon last year and I didn't really know anybody and it was very much like I hung out with people that I might have hung out with online type thing, and it was very much like that. I could totally see what you're saying though. Like if you genuinely feel like the return isn't going to be there, you
Right.
have to balance like, do I need this expense? Because sometimes for taxes and stuff too. I guess you're in the States. I'm sure it's
Right.
similar, but there's only so much I guess you can write off when you genuinely need that
Right.
in
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
places, right? Like
Yeah.
it only makes sense.
Yeah, so 100%. And then and not that we wouldn't want to go hang out with our mods or
Of
our
course.
community and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
we're trying to operate. This is a business.
Mm-hmm.
We are entrepreneurs of our own business, and
Yes.
and we have things to manage, and that's where we have to make those decisions and go, okay, if I go here, there's certain things that I need to accomplish, whether it's I got content to post, or I made connections with people I wanted to connect with,
Yes.
or I got education from creators that I've been wanting to connect with, and they gave me that advice, and that's valuable, um, and whatnot. So that's the aspect of it. And I see AKA says that they still had fun at TwitchCon, and don't get me wrong, I know I would have fun,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, because this is
It's a
part time
different
and
value,
and
right?
even as full time, it's a business, right? This is we got to do things that, like, not only should it be fun, but we have to look at it as a business. And am I going for a vacation to have fun, or am I going because like I'm trying to improve my
Mm.
career and my growth and my knowledge? And that's what right now, because this is the part-time thing, everything is business related. I can have fun later.
And you're a
Right now
numbers
for
guy,
me,
right? You said
yeah,
you
I'm a numbers
basically
guy. I do
you look
analytics,
at
so
spreadsheets.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so
it sounds about right. I feel
yeah, so
like
it's just kind of stuck in me that it's just like the numbers have to add up and
yeah,
balance out.
that makes sense.
As much as I know I'd have a blast, and all that stuff. But yeah, everything has to be expensed and thought about numbers wise. What am
Mm-hmm.
I going to gain to what I put in? And is there more value me going or not going? So right now
Absolutely.
it's not going. And again, who knows? Maybe next year I might go. Cause like what's in Vegas?
It is in Vegas this year,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, which is
So,
also not safe for me because I like to gamble.
see, I feel like because I think Ballard, who also lives in Washington, they were like, oh, if you guys, he said, if you guys go to TwitchCon, I'll go there. So I'm like, oh, Vegas is not that far from you,
Right.
right? Like, you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
probably, I don't know
I
how much of a flight or a
it's I
drive it
think
is,
I
but
think well the flight would probably be like 3 hours, four
that's not too
hours
bad.
maybe. So
Yeah.
it's not a bad flight, but I love to gamble.
Right.
The Asian in me, I'm telling you, the Vietnamese in me,
Oh, it's fine.
holy, I would just go there and just gamble everything because it's just I can't help it. There's something in my ancestral Asianness just comes out, and I'm just like I need to put money on the table.
B Horse says, God, I miss casinos. I
They're
think B
so much
Horse has
fun.
got B Horse, you're a gambler too, aren't you?
It's so much fun, but
See,
so dangerous.
I put money in a slot machine and it just disappears. I've never won enough to like. I've never won anything to be like, fuck yeah, I'm hooked. Like I go in and I'm
Right,
like, I have like 80 or $100 just to. If I lose it, I
right.
lose it. If I don't, I don't. And I have to. I haven't played a card table in a long time, but just for shits and giggles, like. But I've never won
Yeah.
anything
I
really.
mean, the most I've won is probably only like a few $100s, and like
And then
that's
how
it.
much have you put in? You know
But
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, and then I just put in a bunch of $100 as well. So
Mm.
it's like I've never won like $1,000 or $5,000. I I just enjoy the aspect of gambling. Are you gonna get the crazy lights and ding, 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 ding,
Yeah,
you know?
that's
Are you
funny.
gonna get that? And it's like, woo, this is so much fun. I enjoy it, and I don't know. I like to gamble. I will gamble on a lot of things. I'll gamble on
Mm.
basically anything,
Will
to
you
be honest with
actually?
you. Pretty much. I mean, if it was like, we're gonna ride this, these shopping carts down the road, and whoever's gonna get to the bottom first, let's put a bet on it. Hell yeah, I'll put a bet on it because the
Mm.
idea of gambling, which is not healthy, I just like it. I
Do
love
you
it.
enjoy shows and stuff though? Because Vegas is also famous for
I love
there's like
shows.
shopping and then there's also like the shows. Do you go to those?
We have gone. My wife and I have gone to a few shows. We went to Moulin Rouge up in Seattle.
Oh,
So I
nice.
love musicals. I love plays. So I would go to those. But then again, it's like, am I going for vacation or if I'm going for work? And if it's
Mm.
gonna be
What if you
TwitchCon, to
could
me
like
that's
mix
work.
it? What if you could mix it though? Like
I would
you
like
took
to.
your wife with you.
I
Do
would
you have
like to,
anyone?
but it's hard to find people to watch our 4 kids.
True.
That's
This is
the
also
challenging
true.
part. And we
Yeah.
have 2 dogs and a cat and 4 or 5 rats. We have a lot of pets.
You have 5
Yeah,
rats?
yeah, we have 5 rats.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Are they like big rats or
They're
little
not
rats?
big rats. I mean, like they sit in the hand. They're female rats, so they're smaller
Oh, okay.
than the male rats. But yeah, we have 5 rats,
Dang.
and
Your
they're
cat
fun.
doesn't eat them?
Well, they're in a cage.
I
At
feel like
first,
our cats would eat them.
at first, the cat would she would stare at that cage for a very long time.
Yeah.
But no, everybody kind of lives pretty mutually. We've had the rats. We have this like playpen thing that will clear out the living room. And it's just like a bunch of panels, and we let the rats run around, and we do like water time with them. And the cat will just stare at them from the couch. They never jumps in and like attacks
my
them or anything like
gosh.
that. So yeah, it's just so having somebody to watch all of them
Yeah.
is challenging. I would have loved for my wife to go to Loot Fest, but she's also very antisocial,
Okay.
and I'm a very social person, but also antisocial. Like I like to be here, but I also like to, go out and talk to people. And I think she would just be exhausted every day. And then also I would just be worried about her. So it was nice to go without her, so I didn't have to worry about anybody. But I also did miss her and wanted her to be there as well. So
Aw, of
it's
course.
possible that we could have gone to TwitchCon together and do the shows and made it like a vacation honeymoon kind of thing,
Slash work.
slash work thing. But for me, I just my brain is always work, 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 work. That like it's hard for me to not see work and not try to always get something out of something.
So I'm the type of person, so I'm not a numbers person.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
I'm definitely like I'm type B. Well,
Mhm.
I'll just leave you with that and let your imagination run with it
Sure.
because it'll probably be all accurate. I literally will justify a vacation by doing work on the vacation. Like we will
Sure.
go to Mexico and make shit tons of content while we're there. Not just like spots of content, but
Right.
even modeling type content or
Yeah.
cosplays and stuff like that. So I basically try and mix it a little bit because I think I would go crazy if I was only looking at numbers. That's me personally, though. Like,
No, that's completely
right.
fair.
Yeah.
And I would love to be that way
Excuse
too. Cause like I could imagine like how cool would it be to have like your Vegeta cosplay, but you're literally in Belize, you know, like standing on some like monument or whatever, or you're
That'd be
cosplaying in
cool.
front of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or you're in front of Paris and you're, you know, Piccolo. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
to get that content, like would be insane to see because they're just like, wait, you're cosplaying and you're body painted and you're in front of the Eiffel Tower? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Or you're like in Greece where like the Athens fought and all that stuff. And you know what I mean? Like, would be insane. That'd be wild.
So is that where you imagine yourself? Like, if you could mix a vacation with work, is that what you imagine? Like
If I-
me, I settle for like Edmonton and Mexico. I don't go to any of those crazy places. I only go to Edmonton because I can like rent a hotel or an Airbnb and it's like fancy and I can do stuff there and then take advantage of things that I like in Edmonton.
Right.
And then Mexico, of course, because it's Mexico. We go to a resort and it's like a week's worth of work and relax at the same time. So
I don't think I could do that because I've always been trained to work hard, play hard. So when I'm working, I'm working, and when I'm playing, I'm playing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I wouldn't want to have to worry about, oh, let me make sure I have all my camera gear and film this and get this shot or take this picture or do this and that while I'm just trying to have fun. Because for me, for guys, at least for me, I'm very box oriented. My brain is like a giant warehouse and there's all these boxes and every box has a label and there's content creation, there's yard work, there's husband, there's wife, there's kids, there's, you know, fixing cars. And when I'm in one box, that's the only box I can be in. And
Okay.
and if you want me to get okay, I'm doing, you know, oh, I'm building a bookshelf. Okay, I'm doing this. And the wife comes in and goes, well, hey, you know, what do you think about dinner or whatever? I'm like, hold on, I need to close this box up first before I can even think about this.
okay.
You know, so
Interesting.
that's where, you know, if I'm on vacation, I want to be able to just be on vacation
That's fair.
and not worry about getting content. Sure, I could take some pictures with my phone, but like if I'm going somewhere for like TwitchCon, I'm bringing my DSLR cameras.
Of course.
I'm bringing tripods. I'm bringing all sorts of stuff, and then I'm also planning content with certain people or whatever. Maybe trying to plan TikToks to make with people. So that's like where my mind is, and it's like, okay, that's it. It's not okay. I don't want to be like, okay, I'm gonna do cosplay content with ATK on this day, and then we're gonna go see, you know, a magic show on this day. Like, no, it's just content. Because again, I do it part time, and you know what I mean. I just also don't feel it's fair for my wife if I take her on a vacation work experience where it's like,
I
okay,
guess.
I'm gonna go do content stuff. You can come with, but like, I'm gonna be in my content box trying to make content with whoever I'm making content with. But then
I
I'm
see.
also like, but then like if she's coming with, it's like, okay, are you doing okay, honey? Are you hungry? Like, you know, we're gonna go do this or we're gonna do that. Like, are you okay with it? For me, I'm basically okay to do anything. If it's just me, sure, we can go basically anywhere. Like I don't have to worry if
I
like
see.
certain things are okay with her or not okay with her, or food or activities or loud bars or quiet bars or bungee
Okay.
jumping to skydiving. It's just so many things. My brain's just like, oh gosh, I want to make sure my wife's okay, and she's having a good time while I'm trying to work. And
I'm
like I
sure
just,
though, like for her, because she knows this is your passion, it might be
right.
something enjoyable for her to be like a bystander as you're making whatever content it is, though. Do you know what I mean? Like
Oh
I
yeah,
know
100%.
sometimes
Yeah.
because my husband does car content and I do like he helps me make my content when I'm in public, so we both kind of get to experience observing the other one make content, and it's
Right.
also nice to see on that side too. So I don't know if maybe she feels a similar way where like she
Oh yeah.
would enjoy being there, or are you
I
just
know
saying you were
she
just worried
I
about
would just
it?
worry.
Oh.
I know she would support me and all that stuff, and she'd be like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine." But like for me, I would just be worried,
Mm.
because that's who I am. I'm also a people pleaser, where it's like I want to make sure everybody's having a good time. But when I'm in my work box, I tend to ignore people because I'm trying to work, or I
I
may
see.
not be
Like
as
hyper
tentative.
focused.
Yeah, like I might not be as tentative to people because I'm like, we got to get this done or this done or whatever. So just not having to worry about other people to take care of and make sure they're having a good time, kind of thing. Like especially my wife, I would worry that she'd just be like, well, that was fun, but I mean, I only went to one show or two shows, and like that's it, and we
Mm.
didn't really get to do much. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I was doing this and that, and I don't want her to have a bad time, even though I know she'd probably have a blast.
So what do you do to not burn out? That's what Darcel wants to know. What do you do to like I
That's
guess
a
self-care?
oof, that's tough. I guess it's hard because like as soon as I'm done with this, I have family time. Like I'm
Mhm.
playing with my kids, or I'm doing stuff with my kids, or I'm with the wife, or house, or sports, or whatever. So I don't really have right now a thing for self care. Um, I have my support system is
Mm.
kind of just what keeps me going.
Of course.
Um, so like going to the games is fun to do, and watching my kids play sports is a good relaxing time. But
Mhm.
also like I'm parenting and I'm coaching. I mean, I'm not the coach, but like, I'm a parent coach. So like doing that stuff, I really don't do self-care. I really don't.
Okay. I mean, time
Um
with your family. If you are genuinely present in the moment with your family, I feel like that in itself
yeah,
is re-energizing
I try to
for the
be,
most
but
part.
like I'm always very stuck in content.
Mm.
Like I'm really bad at it. It's just cuz I'm just trying to make this thing work, that like I'm so bad at self-care. And I think it's also because I was in the military that I'll I'll do self-care when I'm dead. You know what I mean? That's like our mentality, you know? It's just like I when the job is done, the job is done, but the job ain't done. So,
I
you know,
respect the worth ethic, but I also feel like cuz I've been on the side of burnout where like it came in a depressive phase
mhm,
before where it was like crippling, you can't do anything, you're paralyzed basically in your life. And I was that was a long time ago for me. I'm way past that. But like to me, if I don't perform some form of self-care, it's like I can feel myself like dwindling away. Like I don't get that full recharge
right.
anymore, and then I feel like everything suffers because of it. Like when I'm sleeping well, when I've had tons of orgasms, when I've had good food, when I'm like take care of myself like that, that's when I'm the happiest. That's when I produce the best content. So I totally respect the worth ethic, but I personally could not. Like,
Sure.
I
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like it's so hard for me to do self-care because like as we've talked about, I'm a numbers guy, and
mm-hmm.
I don't see the ROI on self-care because I'm still producing good content.
Mm.
And I'm still having a good time with it, and I'm still having fun and all that stuff. So like, I'll self care later. You know what do you mean?
Self-care is like maintenance. That's like saying,
Yeah,
listen, I know this vehicle needs gas, but I'm gonna keep driving anyways because we're not there yet. We're not stopping for gas yet.
100%. Here's
That's
the thing.
exactly what you're saying.
And that's how I live my life. My car's oil change didn't get changed until my wife took it because it went like 3 years without getting an oil change. That just,
Oh my god.
it's
That's
not
a
a
long
problem
time.
until it's a problem.
Exactly.
That's how my brain works. So like, I just, I mean, and I experienced burnout like back in February. But it wasn't really burnout. It was more of just depression. It was
Okay.
more of depression because like things weren't working, and I was pushing hard and I was working hard at my content and putting out. I felt good content, so I didn't get necessarily burnt out. It was just like it's not working. I think I need to take a break because my mental psyche was just not there.
So how relative and almost ironic to this conversation is it that you took a break and things popped off for you?
It was a weird timing. It was
Okay.
such a weird timing because like it was like I'm taking a break. Like I need to step away. And then literally like a week later my video popped off, and then I started gaining followers after followers, and I was just like, "Hey, asshole, why couldn't you have done this when I was active? Like
So
why did you have to wait till I had stepped
it's okay.
away?"
Let me just present an idea to you. Is that
Sure.
when like obviously we have goals, we're working
Mhm.
towards something. The minute you let go of the fear of I need this, you want it, like you feel like you're rushing towards it, you got to make it happen. The minute you let go of that and just trust that it's going to happen, and you let yourself like relax and enjoy it as you're doing it, and you like trust that it's going to happen, you let go of that like anxiety piece. That's when I feel like things hit. That's when I feel like I manifest things. Is always when I'm
Okay.
like, okay, I let go and I trust that this is going to happen. I'm still working towards it. It's not like it's going to magically appear,
Right. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I've put in the work. I trust it's going to happen, and I don't stress about it, and that's always how the craziest things have manifested into my life, to be
Yeah,
honest.
so I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think for me at the time, it was like 4 months of just being in this low, and just but me still like pushing content out there and trying to put out funny content and all sorts of stuff and making sure the edits were great and all that stuff, and just boom, 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 and it's just like, what am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just punching a brick wall with a wet noodle. You know, I'm not gonna get through it.
Oh, no, you're not.
You
No.
know what I mean? So like I'm just like, what am I doing here? And so and I understood that like things take time and things take time and things take time. So that's why I punched that wall for 4 months. And I guess I just needed to wait 4.5 months. But like I
For it
just
to pop
you know
off.
to pop off. But it was just like
Yeah.
I was just like, man, I've put out great content. You know, I've put out pretty solid content. So like, why aren't you working? Like, why is this not working for me? So when I stepped away, I was just like, I don't know if it's a manifest thing or if I let it go. You know, maybe if I just like stopped stressing about it, it would have, because like it would have happened because it happened, and then I've been like, oh, let's go, it finally happened. But it was a weird thing, and I needed the break anyways because I needed to re look at my content and re-look at my time because I was streaming. Geena, I was like streaming like every night, 7 days a week
Oh
for
my
5 hours, like
After
every
working?
night.
Oh my gosh.
Like
That's
every night
honestly
for like a year.
the thing that I really dislike in this like streaming culture right now is that's what they push. You need to grow, you need to stream, you need to blah blah. But really,
Oh yeah.
streaming for endless hours on any
Oh,
platform isn't really gonna help you that much. You know what I mean? You're just gonna
it's
burn
not.
yourself out. You're not gonna get the other things that could also be meaningful to your content creation. Those things could bring people to your stream, but there isn't a streaming platform that currently exists that's like perfect in the sense that you could stream all
Right.
day and collect a consistent amount of followers or subscribers or whatever. So
Yeah. No, 100% agree. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where I was just like, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, cause I was like, dude, like literally 7 days a week from, I get off of work and then I go live around 8 o'clock and then I stream until 1, 2 in the morning, wake up
Wow.
for work, go to work, and then do it all over again. And
Yeah.
it wasn't good for me, wasn't good for my family. So I said, you know what? I gotta stop. And so now I stream way less. I only stream 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm trying to actually reduce the amount of time I stream when I'm live, to, instead of going like live for 5 hours, maybe only three, maybe
Okay.
only four, and
Mm-hmm.
capping it at that, because I think there's value in that logic as well. Because if you're constantly live and you're constantly there, people are not going to necessarily want to hang out with you the entire time unless they're your best friend. But we don't have 50,000 best friends. So
Mm-hmm.
people can only have so much of Panda or so much of Geena, right? So like they
Absolutely.
they need to miss you, right? You need to spend some time away from those people that love you so that they miss you and they come back. So that's where my mind was like, I'm a reduce the streams so that they're not like, oh, I already saw you, so I'm not gonna hang out on your stream the entire time, right? So
Mm.
that increases my viewer retention, and
Yes,
then
I see what you're saying.
oh, why I haven't seen you in a while, so that increases my reaction count, because it's like, oh, well, I just saw you yesterday, so I'll go watch somebody else tonight because like I just saw you yesterday. You know what I
I
mean?
yes, I see exactly what you're saying.
So that was my
Basically,
logic.
yep. Yep. I understand that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's where the schedule came from. And I guess doing that also helped me with burnout, because I'm not going live every night. I do get this, I do enjoy spending time with my family and
Of course.
having dinner with them, and going to the sports stuff and watching movies with them and all
So
that stuff.
having a
Like that's
lighter
great.
schedule definitely
Having a
benefited
lighter
you.
schedule. And then
Yeah.
honestly, any streamer should have a lighter schedule
I
unless
agree.
they're a full-time content creator, but even then, you should still have a light schedule. Like at least just Monday through Friday for maybe 5
I
hours.
honestly don't know how full-time streamers do it because like you think about a 12-hour stream, like
Oh,
I just feel so disconnected from everything. Now, I
yeah.
love stream, but I mean, I also want to feel like a human sometimes, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? When
100%
when
is
when I'm out of my streaming room and I feel like personally, I don't even have a schedule cuz like I said I'm this type B person. I
mhm,
basically
mhm.
stream most evenings ish if I feel like it, and it's been around 3 days a week basically is what I'm
Yeah.
hitting now. But I used to stream almost every night, and it was like I stream every day. If you come here in the nighttime, I'm here. But
Right, yeah, yeah.
same, I had to like pull back for me. I was really pushing for partner
Right,
at
yeah.
one point, and basically realized that like why am I in a rush? Why am I stressing? And why am I in a
Yeah.
rush? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if I
Yeah. Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.